everyone, and welcome to Tinfoil Wednesday. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Sorry I missed you the last few days. Monday, of course, had electrolysis like normal, or at least I was going to until my electrolysis called in because she had an ear infection. And then Tuesday, I just had some personal stuff going on. I apologize that I wasn't here. But we are back today to continue with Tinfoil. Very excited. I have some crazy stuff for us to take a look at today, including the nuclear weapons hoax people. They're talking a lot lately. It's almost like there's something in the world happening making people talk about nuclear weapons. But it's okay, we're not going to talk about that today. Maybe, unless, wait a minute, let me check a video that I pulled up. Oh, wait, nope, that's probably going to come up. Anyway, welcome everyone! Welcome! Hope everyone's doing good. Oh. Now I gotta get that back. Where is it? There it is. Alright, so, yeah, we're gonna look at that today. We're gonna look at a whole bunch of stuff. We have stuff about aliens, reptilians, and we are gonna play bingo. So if you want to play bingo, make sure you get the bingo card going. Let's see what else I missed in chat. Lady Ann, thanks for 56 months, says 56, wow. Having a great time listening to your streams while working. I now own a small 3D printing service. It's not much, but it's honest work. Nice! I used to have a couple 3D printers, but I couldn't ever focus in on getting them to work correctly, because, like, I don't know how it is now, but back then, and this is when they were a relatively new thing, the troubleshooting took most of the work. Making sure everything was perfectly level manually and, like, torquing the screws to make sure the bed was level. I think they have auto-leveling beds now, which must be really nice. But Bubble Homestead, thanks for a 20-stream streak. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor, like the stream. It'll help a lot. If you want to help support the stream, you can always become a subscriber on Twitch or a member on YouTube. On Twitch, you can also gift subs or memberships on YouTube. It helps out a lot. Couldn't do the show without the support, so thank you. I think that's it. We can get into it, shall we? We'll start off with this nuclear hoax guy, because why not?
For those of you who don't know me, my name's John Hamer.
Hi, John.
And apparently I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Conspiracy theorists do this thing where they'll lampshade the fact that the things they're talking about are insane by going, everyone just calls us conspiracy theorists. Of course, they do this to their own audience, because the audience isn't supposed to think they're conspiracy theorists, because they already believe it. And as conspiracy theorists is used pejoratively, they don't identify with that label, despite it accurately describing their beliefs.
So yeah, I've been researching this kind of stuff for maybe...
My research said by a non-researcher on the bingo card.
27 years. Just a short while. And this particular topic came to my attention a few years ago. And when I looked into it blew me away, basically, because we've all been conditioned.
It's an interesting choice of words.
From being school age, haven't we? That, you know, that we're constantly living under this nuclear threat. And it's coming back again at the moment, isn't it? With all...
I kind of feel like the nuclear, out of all of the conspiracy theories that people justify to themselves, at minimum with this one, I understand the motivation. The reality that we live in a world of nuclear armaments, the fact that we live in a mutually assured destruction world, it doesn't get talked about like it did back in between like the 60s and the 80s, when we were full on like Cold War panic. But nonetheless, mutually assured destruction didn't go away, so that's scary. I get that. I get not wanting to believe we live in a world where, I think Carl Sagan put it like, we're all up to our like waist in gasoline and everyone's holding a match. Like, I get that that's scary, but that doesn't make it not true just because it's scary. And that feels like the motivation behind a lot of the anti-nuke conspiracy theories, is it's people who really can't handle the reality that we're a bunch of stupid monkeys pointing bombs at each other.
The talk of World War III in the air. It's not going to happen, don't worry. It's all bollocks.
Amber says, trying to move out and just submitted our application for a hybrid remote job. We're really excited about. May we request one of your patent pending job hunt blessings? Indeed, I'm in the witch outfit today too, so it should help. Wibbly wobbly jobbity doo. I've got a job interview blessing for you. It rhymed, so it's true. There you go.
Bollocks. Total bollocks. And I'm going to prove it to you in the next.
Who would win in a fight? All of nuclear physics or a British man calling it bollocks? Annie Kai, thanks for 49 months.
Next hour or so. So, yeah, if you're all sitting comfortably and eagerly anticipating this talk, then off we go, yeah. So, yeah, as I said, I've been doing this for 27 years. My background was IT.
Oh, so nothing to do with this. Expert talks about something outside of their field of expertise on the bingo card?
But I finished my career in IT about 25 years ago. So, and since then, I've done absolutely nothing.
Conspiracy theorist accidentally tells on themselves on the bingo card. I know he was saying that as a joke, and to him, he feels the work he has done is meaningful in some way, but it's not, so he accidentally did say the truth there. That's a shame. It always sucks when, like, people like this, like Roger or this guy, retire from what seems to be a legitimate job to fall down this crackpot rabbit hole where they all of a sudden think they're gonna blow the lid off an industry they've never known anything about. In this case, less of an industry, more of a scientific field, but you know what I mean.
Well, other than write a few books and do a few talks and a bit of research. So yeah, we're going to talk about the great nuclear weapons hoax. Is there anyone that actually believes that they exist?
Me. And most people on Earth. What are you talking about?
Good.
Oh, they're coming to get him for telling the truth.
Gonna be a hard night.
Am I gonna include the guy from the 60s that said nuclear is a scam and would eat yellow cake uranium? We've actually covered him before. We've watched his stuff before. As an IT professional, you disown this guy. I believe you, Nemesaur. You would never do this to us, Nemesaur.
Okay. Well...
Oh, also! Someone sent me a package a while back, and they were like, did you get that package? And I was like, no. And they were just confused where it went. I don't remember who sent it, but it's like a jellyfish hat that looks like it was crocheted, and it looks like a lot of work went into it. I did get it. The post office people at the P.O. box put it in the wrong box. So it was like in this weird limbo state for months. So the person who sent me the really cute like jellyfish hat, I do have it. I received it. It was an issue with the post office where they fucked up. So thank you. It's a cute hat. It's downstairs. I'm not wearing it today because it's incredibly hot and it's like a fucking crocheted hat. So, but it's really cute.
Before we get into the presentation proper, I'm going to talk a little bit about conspiracies in general and the falsification of history and science, how it's, you know, been a part of our lives for so long. Start off with a few quotes. Now...
Okay, I thought so, Nemesaur, because it did say with the note NK, and I assumed that was you, but I wasn't sure. I did receive it. It's very cute. Thank you.
Can everybody read the slides at the back? You're okay. I'll read it anyway. Okay, it says, where I come from, we believe lots of things that aren't true. We call it history. And this actually came to light, this quote. Anybody seen the musical Wicked?
Oh, this is very legitimate.
Yeah. Yeah, well, okay. This actually came from the musical Wicked, believe it or not. And this was a line by The Wizard of Oz, because Wicked is, for those of you not aware, is a prequel to The Wizard of Oz. Okay, so it's like all the events leading up to the story of Wizard of Oz. And that was a quote from The Wizard of Oz. Okay, so another quote here. History is more or less bunk. Henry Ford, the car man, obviously.
Fun fact, Henry Ford was a Nazi? He was a Nazi sympathizer. Henry Ford is the guy that helped publish that hoax, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, into the mainstream. So, like, when Henry Ford says history is more or less bunk, he says that with 3 brackets around it. Henry Ford was a bad guy. So when he says that, the implications are it was the Jews because he was an anti-Semitic freak.
And
also, by the way, I come from Michigan, where the valorization of Henry Ford in my elementary school was just fucking absurd. Like, I imagine every state has, like, something where in their youth they get a weird indoctrination about the historical, like, state's industry. Like, some places it's, like, coal mining or whatever, the steel industry. In Michigan, it was logging and the auto industry. So in elementary, we learn all about how, like, Henry Ford was such a great guy, and he's the reason we all have a weekend, instead of, you know, the reality that it was unions and labor that did that. Anyway.
History is a lie, commonly agreed upon. That was from the French philosopher Voltaire.
Do I think this guy would have a problem with that? No, I'm just pointing it out.
All truisms, these, by the way.
Medicated person, thanks for a 30-stream streak, says, did you ever get The Secret of Eternal Life I sent you? It was my only copy, unfortunately. It's probably around here somewhere. Many people send me many books, so I probably did get it. I know someone sent me a pocket reference manual, too, that I got a little bit back.
And then some guy by the name of John Hammer, who wrote a best-selling book called The Falsification of History in 2012. And he said, almost everything you think you know about history and science is totally wrong. And tonight, this is just one element of that, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Because history's been falsified for millennia. Literally millennia. That
was you. Thanks, Harold.
An exaggeration. It's not hyperbole. It's been falsified for millennia. Why? To benefit those in power and further their insidious agendas. And I don't mean governments by those in power. I'm sure you're all aware of this, but, you know, I mean those with the real power, those entities who sit above our governments and dictate their policies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go thinly veiled anti-Semitism on this guy. That coupled with the Henry Ford quote, I'm assuming it's intentional, so we can go thinly veiled anti-Semitism on the bingo card.
Politicians are simply puppets.
See why we said a materialist would swear on it? Yes.
Puppets, dancing to the tune of this unseen band, who sit in the shadows above them or behind them. Interesting quote here from a French author called Honoré de Balzac. There's 2 world histories.
That's a pronunciation.
One is the official and full of lies, destined to be taught in schools. The other is a secret history, which harbors the true cause.
I like that all he has so far are literally just other guys saying history is bullshit. Like, he doesn't have any... And I know this is just the introduction, but, like, so far, everything is just a guy said a thing. This is hearsay. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Okay, some people, none of whom are historians, I noticed, by the way. None of these people with these quotes are historians in the field of history or understand, like, the field of historiography. They're just guys that are like, I think history's bullshit. I'm a big brain boy.
And occurrences. Okay. So, yeah, conspiracy theories. Apparently, as I said earlier, I'm just a conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
I wish I'd had £1 for every time someone had called me that. Yeah, so what is a conspiracy theory? Again, I'm sure you're aware, but don't forget that sometimes I talk to audiences where they're not as aware, maybe as you guys, so I do kind of put this stuff in at the beginning just to clarify a few things. It was actually coined...
Flattering the audience is huge in conspiracy videos, by the way. You'll notice a lot, that they'll say things like, you're too smart, you're so smart, you're a savvy audience. Just constantly trying to make the audience feel special.
By the CIA.
But you all know that, chat. You watch all my streams, so you're up on this conspiracy stuff. You know what you're talking about.
In the aftermath of the JFK assassination, because at that time people were questioning the findings of the Warren Report, which was the official look into exactly what happened, which again was a load of nonsense, you know. But to counteract that, the CIA came up with the phrase conspiracy theorist or conspiracy theory in order to denigrate people who actually questioned the agenda.
I'm not a crackpot. The CIA made up the word in order to discredit me is an argument.
Okay. So it's obviously now used to discredit anybody who tries to expose the lies of...
No, you can, like, try and point out things that you have actual evidence for. That's fine. It's usually when people make pretty unfounded claims that they get called conspiracy theorists in my experience.
Our would-be controllers. That says, obviously, did you know, the term conspiracy...
Oh, you can tell it's real because it says a thing the guy wanted, right? I love when their citation is a meme I saw on Facebook. Orion Cooper with a $2 super chat says, no, you're special and smart, unironically. Thank you.
Conspiracy theorist, and it's just reiterating what I've just said. It actually appeared in a memo called Countering Criticism of the Warren Report, and the CIA set out to make that a weapon to be used against anyone who questioned the government's...
Do you have a citation for that other than this just saying it? Can you tell me where to find the specific thing about criticism of the Warren Report? Can you give me that? Or like a screenshot from the document? Or literally did you see this on Facebook and you went, oh, that sounds legitimate? Kind of seems like that's what happened here since you're not showing me the document. Bittergrin, thanks for a 230 stream streak.
Secret activities and programs. But having said all that, I always say this in my talks, I don't want you to take what I'm saying as gospel. I want you to question absolutely everything.
Whenever conspiracy theorists say this, it's such a vacuous statement. People came here to listen to you because they already agree with what you have to say. Maybe they don't know that. I was gonna say they know that. Maybe they don't. This doesn't matter. You're not talking to an audience of skeptical people. You're talking to an audience of true believers that have already primed themselves to believe you. They chose to come here to the Holiday Inn or wherever and listen to your fucking conspiracy presentation. They're already on your side. You're preaching to the choir. So your little spiel here means nothing.
Don't believe me. You look it up for yourself and you'll find it. So
do your own research on the bingo card.
You know, just to summarize that, I don't want you to think like me. I just want you to think. It's extremely important.
It's another image. It's just another image macro. Is this guy's entire worldview formed from pictures he saw scrolling on Facebook?
There's a great quote here from one of my early heroes.
Okay, yep, this is just shit he saw on Facebook of the presentation. Okay.
Who wrote a fantastic book called Behold a Pale Horse, if any of you have ever read that. If you haven't, I would recommend that you do. He wrote it in the 90s, early 90s.
Green guy with a $3 tip says, Hannah, it got up to 91 degrees today. I checked the forecast, and in the next 10 days, it'll be 94 or 95. Showed the wife. She was like, kill me. Oh, same. It's going to be in the 90s coming up here. And once again, summer has come around, and we have discovered our central air unit has leaked all the refrigerant, so it's not blowing cold. So we've once again put in a repair order to our landlord. Hopefully they'll fix that soon. Right now we have a window unit here so I can stream without being absolutely miserable, but the rest of the house is so fucking hot. So I feel ya.
And Bill was assassinated by the FBI on his own doorstep. The reason he was assassinated was because he predicted 9/11 2 months before it happened.
9/11 out of nowhere on the bingo card. We're gonna have to do a bingo check soon. This guy's already doing a lot of them.
Bill had been a high-ranking naval officer, so he was kind of privy to lots of information. And he said...
Why would anyone... Okay, even, first of all, 9/11 was not an inside job, but in a hypothetical where it was, why would anyone in the Navy know about it? I don't think you need the boat guys to know about the plane thing, and before anyone says, I know that there are fucking people who fly planes in the Navy, I'm fucking aware.
I don't advise you what you should believe or not believe, but I do advise you that we all need to learn as much as we can about everything we can, because one thing I've learned in my life is that most of what we've ever been taught has been a lie.
Most of it? Like, it's completely fair to look at, like, society's historical or, like, civic mythological, like, beliefs and heritage and what's taught to you and question it, because these things are always biased to one extent or another. But to say that the vast majority of things you have ever been taught are, like, incorrect intentionally is just so wrong. Sir, you're able to get up and function every day, seemingly, more or less. I promise most of the things you were taught are not true. You get up, you pick out your clothes, you take a shower, you make food, you pay your bills. You're fine. You're fine.
Well said, Bill.
There's also lies to children, yes.
No, after. About 6 weeks after, I think. Oh, sorry, I just forgot to mention, could everyone switch the phones off, make sure the phones are on silent? Well, because it's quite distracting if they go off, that's all. Okay. And I think it's true to say that most people don't really want to hear the truth. They just want constant reassurance that what they believe is the truth.
Irony? Anyone? Irony?
That is very true in itself. And a gentleman by the name of Nikola Tesla, I'm sure you've all heard of, he said today...
Oh my god, every fucking time with Tesla. I gotta get Tesla on the bingo card.
Scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation, and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality.
Reminder that Tesla said shit like this because they were telling him, hey, the laws of physics dictate that you can't transmit energy wirelessly with any efficiency because it gets exponentially harder. You need exponentially more power to transfer the same amount of power a greater distance. And he went, no, fuck you! Reminder, well, Tesla was a smart guy and pioneered some shit, especially near the end of his life. He just stopped listening to other people in the field and did a bunch of dumb, egotistical bullshit. Bubble Homestead with 100 bits says, in the Twilight Zone version, they don't, get the warning for nuclear war because their phones are off. Green Guy with a $3 tip says, didn't the Navy release the UFO footage, so now the Navy is more trustworthy among conspiracy theorists? I guess, but most conspiracy theorists that I saw thought that that was like... How do I put this? They thought it was like controlled opposition or something along those lines.
Again, very, very true. People ask me where I get my research from. This is a common question that I get. Well, I'll tell you, as soon as you ask so nicely.
Inverse square law, not square cube law, Lady Anne. Square cube law says that the interior volume of a mass exponentially increases with the surface area. That's why Godzilla couldn't exist. Inverse square law is the one that's about energy proliferating over distance. Yeah.
First of all, I have an extensive book collection, some of which are well over 100 years old, and
I own many leather-bound books.
The thing about that is that I've found from experience that the older the book, the more likely you are to find the truth within it.
Oh my god, that's so funny. The further back in time you get, the less accurate stuff is gonna be, but I assume the less accurate stuff is probably more in line with what he wants to be true, so he finds there to be truth there. That's funny.
Why would that be, John? I hear you ask. And that is because they're constantly refining their agenda and changing history to suit their own version of the truth.
Just the fact that he's describing some sort of like historical entity that is the same, how do I put this, is the same constituently, like basically he's describing an entity that is an entity, an organization whose character does not change over millennia. Can you think of any organization created by people that doesn't change over millennia if it does last that long? Because it's made up of people, and people change over time. So, like, even something like the Vatican, which is an entity that you can draw a line back in history, thousands of years. The Vatican of, like, 700 AD is not the Vatican of today. Yet he describes some sort of, like, nefarious entity, this other, we know what he's saying, but, you know, he thinks that that organization's character and goals are more or less in the same line for millennia. That's not how people are. That's not how people are. Green Guy with a $1 tip says, I too have a rock collection, some of which are millions of years old.
Of the past, just as Orwell told us about in 1984. So exactly like that. So they're refining that truth all the time.
Hey,
so the older the book, consequently, the more likely the stuff in that is to be true. It's not 100% true, but it's certainly more true than you would find in today's books. And also, I get a lot of my information from this very handy little book. I would recommend you all get a copy because it's very revealing. Yeah, it says under here, we couldn't do what we do if we didn't have the corrupt British media supporting us. Absolutely.
We get it. We good memes, sir. Move on. Does he know you're supposed to like come up with original thoughts for presentations? You're not just supposed to show people memes you saw.
Yeah. So a little meme here about.
Oh my God! It's just all memes. Oops, all memes. Sorry, I forgot to create a presentation. Here's a smattering of memes.
The myth of atomic weapons. I'll read it out because it's pretty small, unless you've all got absolutely 20/20 vision. It says, A-bombs were invented by science fiction writer H.G. Wells.
No, they were not. I don't know if he created anything analogous in his stories, like in War of the Worlds or anything. I don't recall if any of their weapons could be considered akin to a nuclear weapon. But it doesn't matter. Nuclear weapons are real. If someone creates a fictional construct of something that doesn't exist yet, that happens all the time. Look at the writings of Jules Verne. Look at a lot of the stuff from science fiction of the past. For instance, Thomas A. Swift books. A lot of those were sci-fi concepts at the time, but were very shortly afterward real. For instance, Thomas A. Swift and his motorcycle, which was a sci-fi concept at the time, or Star Trek with its, like, communicator flip phone that later became a real thing with flip cell phones. So, just because someone, if they did come up with a sci-fi concept first, often that inspires scientists or is based off science that's being worked on in the conceptual stage, so decades or even centuries later, that concept is used in a practical way somewhat similar to the fictive example.
The top secret Manhattan Project was a work of fantasy and scaremongering propaganda.
And that electric rifle that became Taser? Yep, Taser. Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle. Taser.
Surely not. The nuclear war
Wells came up with the death ray, heat ray. I do recall that.
hoax was used to siphon money and end World War II. Evidence proves that the USA dropped napalm carpet firebombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
No. Not playing with that shit. Talking about nuclear weapons in general, fine. I cannot allow equivocation on fucking Hiroshima, Nagasaki. I just can't do it. Nope.
Nukes don't exist. They're a technological impossibility. It's absolutely true. Compressing uranium metal to double density with a neutron in between to ignite an uncontrolled explosion is fiction. And we're going to see that in action over the next hour. So yeah, nuclear weapons do not exist. It is, in fact, a 20th century hoax. Yeah, so, big question.
Didn't the crew of the planes take video of it dropping? I think so.
Why would they lie to us about nuclear weapons? Why?
They don't.
The $64,000 question. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. So let's first of all look at the history of nuclear weapons. Yeah, most of my generation, so-called baby boomers, those that were born in the 10, 15 years following World War II.
Thanks, Fatback Gamer.
I know you don't. You couldn't possibly believe that looking at me. I know, but yeah. You know, it was an ever-present threat in our lives. I was just talking to a young lady there who was the same age as me, and I don't know about you, but we had it drilled into us at school constantly. We were having nuclear drills, even at primary school, where we were told to hide under the desk when the siren.
Altered Undying says, "Hey Hannah, just got home from getting my hair done. Hope you enjoyed the church with the rainbow walkway image I sent." I did, it was cute.
Went off, and we had these drills, and everybody was terrified, absolutely terrified. And we were told that civilization is hanging by a thread with, you know, these crazy men with their fingers on the nuclear trigger, and, you know, the whole world could disappear in a flash.
Yeah, that's still true. Fun fact.
When we're least expecting it. Why? Well, let's see. If you had to give one word, the reason for what we're talking about tonight, the nuclear weapons hoax, that would be number one. Because fear, again, I'm sure you're all aware of this, it's a weapon, a very powerful weapon that they use to keep populations in line. And it's extremely powerful as a tool of manipulation, because our controllers realize that if they create a situation to make us fearful, and I'm sure we've all experienced that in the last few years with a certain event that went on for 2 years, it makes us much more malleable, easier to manipulate, because the human nature is to seek sanctuary. So they offer that sanctuary to us.
That doesn't mean that everything that scares you is fake. Like, it's fair to point out that fear allows people to take advantage of others, but that doesn't mean that everything that scares you is a psyop. Are spiders a psyop? No, they just scare you. Nuclear weapons aren't fake because they scare you. They should scare you. They're horrific. Fenakagami says, "So everyone on this day of my week sucks so far. My car's transmission went up, and it'll take $6K to put a remanufactured one in it. Unfortunately for me, I still owe $7K on the car. I'm getting help with it, though, but seriously, fuck Trump and his tariffs. That sucks."
In the form of a vaccine, in the case of what happened a couple of years ago.
You're an asshole.
But in other ways too. And
no, I'm the one that said psyop. Oh wait, no, he thinks this is a psyop. Yes, psyop on the bingo card.
Favorite technique used by the few to control the many, because they realize that one of the only ways of a few thousand people controlling the alleged 8 billion of us is to create this fearful...
Alleged 8 billion. I assume he's one of the people that doesn't think the population is as high as stats say.
environment.
Hans Wormhat also believes the population is much lower than we're told.
If you notice, we just lurched from one crisis to another. All through the 20th century, it was World War I, the Russian Revolution, World War II, the rise of Nazism. Some of the
Sir, are you aware of history? Humans do a lot of shit, and in particular, the 20th century was a busy century for us, you know? Industrialization had really come into full swing in many nations. That led to a great upheaval all over the world, politically and socially. That led to wars and conflict, which changed the global status quo. Yeah, a lot of stuff happens. People do stuff all the time. Fennec Gami says, according to Hans, spiders are a psyop. Also, this shit is part of the reason that we have such political apathy in this country. I think in particular, I don't think this is what to lay at the feet of that. This is a pretty niche thing.
The story for another day. You know, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, terrorism reared its ugly head. It's just a constant drip feeding of stuff to make us scared. And that's how they control us, or partly how they control us. And as I said, a fearful population is far, far easier to control. Just take a drink of my cherry juice. Honest. Yeah. It's better. So, that's what I just said. I obviously preempted myself there. There you go. So yeah, after World War II, they needed a new threat. So while World War II was going on...
I want to point out that none of this is evidence. This is a narrative. Like, does he think he's giving evidence? This is a story he's spinning. This is a narrative. This isn't evidence of anything. This is just his thought process of justifying the thing he already believes.
On the device.
Altered Undying says, tell me you never had a family member in the military without telling me you never had a family member in the military.
Something called the atomic program. And this was designed because they already knew, probably even before World War II started, that following World War II, which they knew they would have to end at some point, much to their disappointment, of course, because if
fuck you,
they could, they would have just carried it on ad infinitum, that they needed a new threat.
No one was benefiting from World War II's active combat. Like, frankly, even if you were a war profiteer, the world was a worse place for you to live in during World War II. What an insane statement.
And that new threat was the Cold War, with Russia and America with their fingers on the nuclear triggers. Are we in? Are we in? Yeah, good. And so, yeah, and what followed immediately after the Cold War ended? Terrorism. Ooh, fear. And
the Cold War ended in, like, 1989, and the War on Terror didn't really kick off until 2001, after 2001, so 2002-ish. I know that there were things in the 90s. I'm aware of the first Gulf War. I know. But, like, there's a pretty big gap between the big things he's talking about in terms of it being an all-encompassing, like, social problem that gets brought to the forefront of every discussion.
And then post-terrorism, the pandemic. I mean, notice how during that alleged pandemic, there was no terrorism whatsoever. It was never even mentioned.
I don't think that's true, but yeah, there were fewer people out doing stuff in general, so if I'm like a terrorist and I'm going out of my way to attack people, it's going to be harder to do because there's fewer people gathering in large amounts.
Funny that, wasn't it?
I don't know how to explain that further.
Yeah, that'd be it, yeah.
Maybe he's referring to the Troubles. I think the Troubles started in like the mid to late 60s and went until... When was that fucking thing signed? Like the 90s? Mid to late 90s? Something like that?
So yeah, for well over 100 years, probably, you know, much longer than that, they've been practicing the dark art of control over ever-increasing population.
Good Friday Agreement. Thank you. That's the name of it.
And, of course, all those fearful episodes, major ones, were liberally interspersed with lots of other less significant episodes and false flag attacks, all that kind of stuff. All designed to lower our vibrations and make us fearful. Because the fearful people are easier to control. And they're constantly dreaming up new ways to keep us in fear. I wonder what will be next. And they do this because they know how the human psyche works. They are masters of the human psyche. They know exactly which buttons to press. They know exactly which levers to pull to mold us into the population that they want. Okay, so there you go. And of course, living in fear, just to keep reiterating the point, 'cause
Green guy with $3 says, is this a British guy saying there was no world wars? It's like a New Yorker saying there was no 9/11. Not that they didn't exist. He's saying that they were created by world governments nefariously for some underlying hidden purpose.
because it's so important.
Which is incorrect.
It's something that our governments and their controllers love to afflict upon us, and it's just one of the many ways that they're able to control the many. Whether it's the overt threat of imminent nuclear annihilation, Muslim terrorism coming to our doorsteps, being wiped out in a pandemic, or by deranged gun-wielding murderers on the rampage. Our governments have a ready-made, off-the-shelf nemesis just to ensure that we'll...
Maybe people are just shitty. It's so interesting that he lists all these completely unrelated, disparate things, and then he's like, they have a flavor for every day of the week. Maybe people just suck and come up with lots of different ways to have conflict and spread suffering. Like, it's not a plan. People are just apes. We're apes, and we go to war, and we attack each other over petty bullshit. It's not great, but it's reality.
all have something, anything at all, to be frightened of. So I think we've finished labouring that particular point now. Right. Now, getting into the meat of it now. Just after the war, there was a guy called Alexander Deserski, who was a US major in the American Army, and he...
One sec.
was commissioned by the US Department of Defense immediately following World War II, and he was commissioned to conduct a survey post-World War II of...
Did he say cabal? If so, cabal on the bingo card. I missed that.
all the bomb-damaged cities in the world. Okay, he spent a year, 18 months, travelling all around them, and he analysed
Green guy says he's a shitty communicator. I didn't pick up on that.
all the different types of bomb damage, from just conventional bombs, incendiary bombs, napalm, and of course the 2 nuclear attacks on Japan, allegedly. And he was obviously commissioned by the army itself, and he was commissioned because they wanted to analyse which kinds of bombs were most effective. And the resultant...
Kind of depends on what you're trying to do, isn't it? It's not a one-size-fits-all.
havoc.
Like, I'm not trying to justify anyone bombing anyone, but, like, if I wanted to hit a specific target tactically, be a different bomb than something else, or if I wanted to destroy the structures, or just be concerned about the people, machinery, if it's like an industrial place you're trying to bomb, that'd be very dependent upon the context.
That they all would cause. So that's why that's why it was done. In other words, to determine which bombing strategies were most effective. So he spent about 18 months going around every single war zone in the world and analysing the data that he collected.
Seems like a cheery job.
Now, the principal alleged verifiable evidence for nukes is, of course, the only time they've ever been used in anger, and that is those 2 Japanese cities. But Deserski he made an extensive investigation into the damage in both cities, along with all the other bombed cities throughout the world. And what he found at first confused him. Then it absolutely stunned him. What did he find, John? I don't know. Let's see. He couldn't detect any differences whatsoever between those two cities and any other conventionally bombed cities in Japan or Europe. None.
I could give you a difference. The others required many more bombs carried by more planes, whereas a nuclear bomb, it was a one and done per city. Is that helpful?
He was prepared when he went over there. He was prepared for horrific sights.
Can we have a citation where this was said? No citation for you. Believe the meme man.
But found nothing worse than any other devastated city throughout the world. Mainly Japan and Germany, because they were the two that got,
How does he explain all the radiation sickness and the countless people that, were treated for radiation in the aftermath?
The real brunt of it. I know London was bombed and one or two other cities, but it was nothing compared to what happened to Germany and Japan. So yeah, he saw no difference whatsoever. And in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, all the metal frame buildings were still intact. But an interesting thing about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were totally untouched. Every other Japanese city, by the time of the nuclear attacks, they'd be virtually razed to the ground. Every other Japanese city was virtually obliterated. Yet Hiroshima and Nagasaki had never been attacked at all, in any way. And in addition to that, both those two cities, 90% of the buildings there were wood.
Just the first couple sentences disprove this. Let's take a look. The United States Strategic Bombing Survey was a written report created by a board of experts assembled to produce an impartial assessment of the effects of the Anglo-American strategic bombing of Nazi Germany during the European theater of World War II. After publishing the report in 1945, the survey members then turned their attention to the war efforts against Imperial Japan during the Pacific War, including a separate section on the recent use of the atomic bomb and attacks on 2 Japanese cities. In total, the report contained 208 volumes for Europe and another 108 for the Pacific, comprising thousands of pages. The report's conclusions were generally favorable about the contributions of Allied strategic bombings toward victory. The survey said of Allied air power that it was decisive in the war in Western Europe. Hindsight inevitably suggests that it might have been employed differently or better in some respects. Nevertheless, it was decisive. In the air, its victory was complete. At sea, its contribution combined with naval power brought an end to the enemy's greatest naval threat, the U-boat. On land, it helped turn the tide overwhelmingly in favor of the Allied ground forces. A majority of the survey's members were civilians in positions of influence on the various committees of the survey. Only one position of some influence was given to a prominent military officer, USAAF General Orville A. Anderson, who had been in the Air War Plans Division, and that only in an advisory capacity. Anderson was the only one on the survey board who knew about the procedures of strategic bombing as Jimmy Doolittle's former deputy commander of operations. While the board was not associated with any branch of the military, it was established by General Hap Arnold, chief of the USAF, along with Carl Spaatz, commander of the Strategic Air Forces in Europe. Failure to obtain the prominent public figure he had hoped for, Arnold settled for Franklin de Oliver. Here's the thing about atomic bombing. They noted that although the blast wave was of about the same pressure as that of the high explosive bombs, the duration of the effect was longer and the brick buildings were collapsed as far as 2,200 meters at Hiroshima and 2,600 meters at Nagasaki, while traditional wood houses were about the same, while reinforced concrete structures suffered structural damage or collapsed up to 700 feet at Hiroshima and 2,000 feet at Nagasaki. Oh, and they list the survey people, and the guy's not in here. Oh, so he just made up a guy. I forget to look for things as stupid as that, because I would never do such a thing. So the idea that someone would just manufacture a fake person pisses me off. So he's just lying. That's good. That's good that he's just straight up making up people to cite.
You see where this is going now? They wanted to save those two cities to create the maximum impact when they announced that they'd been nuked.
Okay. We can be done with this guy. We've spent about an hour on him. Let's take a look at the bingo card and all of the things that he has wrought upon our minds. We have... staggering levels of hypocrisy for him saying history is faked and then he made up a source. Believes evidence is self-evident. False flag on the bingo card. Or no, that wouldn't be false flag. That'd be PSYOP. Apologies. My research said by a non-researcher. You're living in fear. Population control as a motive. Thinly veiled anti-Semitism. Conspiracy theorist tells on themselves. Do your own research. Illuminati, Freemasons, Cabal. Is that it? Is there anything else? Oh, 9/11 out of nowhere. Duh. Oops. Sorry, didn't mean to play that yet. Sorry. Where is 9/11 out of nowhere? 9/11 out of nowhere. 38. All right. I think that's it. Let's take a look at what we're looking at next. Oh, let's check out Zmoo. We haven't seen Zmoo in a while. I know it's around here somewhere. Where are you, Zmoo? We're missing you. Carrie Ann Thornton. Where you be, bitch? I know I pulled your ass up. Where are you, Carrie? There you are. Alright. So y'all should be familiar with Carrie Ann Thornton, or Sky Prince, of Sky Prince Medbeds fame. She'll be making at least a brief appearance in the Medbed video that I've been working on, which I'm pretty excited for. She claims to be in communication with the Galactic Federation of Light, and that they are handling medbeds being brought to Earth, and the project manager is Zmoo. Zmoo. Z-M-U is how I spell it. I don't know how he spells it. Talking like he's a real guy. Anyway, he's a 10-year-old alien boy who has been put in charge of the project of bringing medbeds to Earth. For being a 10-year-old alien, he's doing pretty good. So, my YouTube recommendations must be fucked. Oh, they are. It's bad. You know how hard it is for me to find things to watch for fun? I really should have had 2 YouTube accounts, one for this and one that's a different one, but I don't. So, anyway, here's Moo.
Are you ready to start, Smo? Yeah, I'm ready. I just sit down. Hang on, I pull up chair. Okay.
Just can't do some words. The word will. I will pull up a chair. Difficult. Apparently too difficult. He forgets words, as you do.
Alright, guys, so with Smo, okay, when I'm going to channel Smo, this is his video tonight, okay? This subject came up in his channeling session, his paid channeling session.
She's not channeling yet. She asked if he was okay, he said yes, and now she's introducing him.
This morning. So he asked me if I would do this tonight, and when I channel Smoo, my accent changes.
Not very much. Kind of like someone doing a bad cartoon voice of what they think a kid should sound like. That's what it sounds like. It's not a different accent. It's just a cartoonish affect that you apply.
Okay, my accent changes. So I sound very, very different when I channel Smoo, okay?
Wow, she has deluded herself, huh? She really thinks she's doing like a complete transformation, like she's Frank fucking Oz. Like she thinks she's embodying a new persona.
Each of them has a slight difference in the way they come through, but none like Smoo, okay? I have many people go, what's this crap? Who are you? What accent's that? Like, you're lying, you're this. No, my accent changes quite a lot with Smoo, okay? Okay, you
believes they speak to aliens regularly on the bingo card.
Want to say that, or you want me to say? You say, okay. Smoo is...
Mel blank, she ain't... Buy my med feds, folks!
A child grey, okay, from Venus. He's not the dark greys. He is the most lovable, loving kid. So he's actually about 3,000 Earth years old, but he is the mentality and the age of around an 8 or 9 year old child.
Okay, so why is he in charge? What are you okay, when she described this before, it sounded like the opposite, where he's like, yeah, he's 10 years old, but like this alien species matures more quickly. So it's the opposite? He's like thousands of years old, but he's a child. Why is this alien child in charge of a project? Do the aliens not have child labor laws?
Okay, and he's...
The alien children crave the dilithium mines, apparently.
Still quite... I don't want to say immature. He's quite childlike. Okay, gets distracted very, very easily, loses focus very quickly.
Me too, but I'm not calling myself an alien child. Have you considered getting tested for ADHD?
He's just like, he's a kid. He's 7 foot tall. He's a scientist, a biologist. He's around 10D, 10th dimensional consciousness.
Dimensions beyond our own? 10th dimension, wow. He's lapping us in dimensions multiple times over.
At the moment. And he's just an amazing kid. Like, people say, oh, Greys...
Have I considered getting tested for alien DNA? Fair enough. I have not.
This Grey's that. No. Okay, so there's over 1,000 different races of Grey, and that's just in our neck of the woods, so to speak. So we can't class them all together. He's not a droid, or he's not a clone or something. He's
clones on the bingo card.
An absolute individual, full of life, full of personality, full of emotion.
Bring out Smoo!
Okay,
I'm so tired of Carrie.
Very, very emotional. And he's
Me
very
too.
much a kid. Okay.
Smoo's just a kid and life is a nightmare.
He says, okay, I take over now. Okay, go for it, Smoo. There is one comment that I want to read out. Okay, let me find the comment. Okay. Archangel Sandalphon, are you able to channel him one time? Yes, Kerry can channel Fon, but at the moment he talking to Armin, and they having a bit of a...
Can't think of the word is. He forgot the word is? He forgot the word is.
Discussion, okay? So if he finishes discussion, I will ask him to come and say something one time for you, okay? But he just busy, okay? Daddy, Armin and him are having conversation, and yeah, they deep in discussion, okay? So just let them finish, and then we will see if he has time, okay? Okay, so this morning in my channeling event, I love doing those events. They are so much fun. Okay, it come up a question, and I can't remember what the question was, but it was about consciousness and technology. They need, oh, that's right, they need the technology, the med beds and all of that to help.
No 10-year-old talks like this. Oh, do you talk to a lot of Venusian 10-year-olds? How dare you?
Help them heal, and why is it being held away from you guys? Okay, now what I want to discuss.
She's very cringe. Is it bad that I've been doing this for so many years that I am so... I didn't even get cringe from this. No part of my brain went, cringe. I am so desensitized to conspiracy bullshit that I'm like, yeah, she's lying and she's wrong. But like, I don't know. I'm just too desensitized, I think.
Please don't shoot Carrie, and please don't drop in your vibration, okay? Because this is really...
Did you say what?
Carrie, and please don't discuss. Please don't shoot Carrie.
Don't shoot Carrie. That's good advice. Nobody shoot Carrie. Nobody shoot anyone. No weapons of any kind against anyone.
And please don't drop in your vibration, okay? Because this is really important. If you want to move forward,
yeah, this can be vibes-based conspiracy.
You need to open your mind and listen to what I have to say. Because if you're thinking that, oh, now it's not going to happen, because then you're in low vibration with a closed mind, which is...
If you don't believe my bullshit, you're a low vibration loser. Why don't you just trust me blindly up here with the high vibration cool kids?
Exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So keep your mind open and really listen to what I have to say, okay? So it is really, really important for you to be able to take notice and be honest with yourself, okay? Because what is going to be happening is many people that hear this video are going to say, oh, now there's an excuse. No, it isn't. It is fact, okay? It is 100% fact. And you will find this out the closer we get to disclosure, and when disclosure happens, you will know that this is fact, and this was not just excuse, this was not a lie, this was not bullshit, okay?
The best defense for a lie is, you'll see. Later you'll see I'm not lying. It just gives you infinite potential time to come up with a reason that the lie is true.
It was not bullshit. This is absolute true. Okay, and if you look at Atlantis, you will see I'm telling truth, okay?
I can't look at Atlantis! It's sunk! And more importantly, potentially, it's fictional! Atlantis on the bingo card.
Now, there's one quote that I made up this morning in the channeling event, and I asked Carrie to write it down and then do
You think these advanced aliens could invent technology that doesn't depend on you believing in it? Maybe they work like the 40k orcs. You just really gotta believe collectively, and anything's possible.
Video on it. Consciousness. When you need technology, you are not ready for it. I'm reading it because I don't remember the exact words. When you don't need it, you are ready for it. Okay? So when you need technology, it means you are not ready for the technology.
I think that Sky's the funniest medbed scammer because she just continually tells her marks to go fuck themselves. Like, so many scammers are incredibly sycophantic to their marks because they don't want to miss any of them. She doesn't give a fuck. I don't even know if she's in this for the money as much as she's in it for the attention. Like, it's borderline, like, some kind of weird Munchausen, like related thing where I don't think she's scamming for money. I think she's scamming for attention. So it's always funny just hearing her be like, oh, you don't like what I have to say? Go fuck yourself. She just has no respect for any of the people she's scamming. She hates them if they get out of line even a little bit.
When you don't need the technology, it means you are ready for it. Now,
Well, it's useless then, isn't it? Exactly, Nemesaur.
let me explain. Let me explain. Give me a minute to explain with open mind, okay? If you look at physical life, okay, physical life is simply a manifestation of conscious thought,
Okay, no though? No.
okay? The physical world, the physical reality is a manifestation of conscious thought.
Okay, no. If anything, it's the opposite. Your perception of physical reality is a manifestation of your thoughts. Like, there is a real pipe, but I can never really perceive the pipe itself. I can only perceive my perception of it. You know what I mean? There's always an intermediary, and it's your sensory input organs and it all being deciphered by your brain. But there is a real physical reality that we exist within. It's just being interpreted through our sensory function. But the world is real. I know it because I think and I am in a place.
This is how you create your reality, by your thought. Okay, now are you with me? Okay, so if you create your reality through your conscious thought, then why do you need anything external to you?
Because you promised people medbeds, Carrie. For years, you've been leading these people on and claiming it's going to cure their illnesses and their chronic pain. And now you're just like, fuck you. You need spiritual enlightenment. Eat my asshole. Do you see why that's so fucked up?
You don't. Because you create the reality through your conscious thought. You're creating a reality.
Okay, I'm gonna use my conscious thought to imagine a reality where Carrie gets fucking arrested for this.
Where you think you need something external to you. You don't. Because it's only your thought that you're thinking you're having physical experience. So why are you thinking you need technology? Why can't you just imagine you have the technology?
Smoo! Just say you fucked up! At this point, it feels like Smoo, the 10-year-old, is just trying to scam because he couldn't do it. Smoo was given the responsibility of bringing medbeds to Earth, and frankly, they should not have given that responsibility to a 10-year-old Venusian boy. And he's in over his head, and this is just him trying to get out of it. That'd be the funniest if there really were aliens and they were trying the medbed thing, but they just fucked up and Smoo, like, it's like, oh, I don't know how to do an apology. Ukulele time. Green guy with a $3 tip says, is she misunderstanding the Star Trek episode about the replicator and the underdeveloped world wanting to have one, and a world with capitalism and is like ours, it wouldn't be around because the rich wouldn't let it? I don't think so. I think she's just incoherent.
Stay with me. I'm getting there, okay? So if you are thinking, I need the technology to heal me, guess what? You are not ready for the technology to...
Okay, Carrie, what if they lost their fucking leg? And they're like, I need a leg. They can't just grow one with their thoughts. Lennon Cat says, how is this somehow worse than the faith healers and you weren't healed because you didn't believe hard enough? It's more condescending. Terradona says, who knew a cosmic 10-year-old was a scammer? Shocked, I say. Shocked.
Heal you. Okay? You are not ready for the technology to heal you. Because...
unironically, like, I don't know if anyone either has or knows anyone with chronic pain issues. It is a hell. that I would never wish on anyone, and I have so much sympathy for anyone dealing with chronic pain. And it pisses me off, frankly, hearing her try to say to people who are suffering unnecessarily, like they're suffering and it's not their own fault, it's just a fucked up thing that happened, or maybe a condition that they were born with. And she has the fucking gall to sit here and be like, have you just considered thinking more positively? Go fuck yourself, Carrie. Go fuck yourself.
As you move further into the higher dimensional frequencies, you begin to learn your conscious thought creates your reality. You begin to learn your vibrational frequency, and your focus gives you the experience that you're having. So if you're thinking, I'm sick, I can't do this, I can't do that, the universe will say, okay, that's where your focus is going, you get more of what you're focusing on.
That's not how the world works. The world does not work off a request system. That's not how this works. The universe is not listening to your desires. There's nothing to listen. It's just stuff and energy. Just fucking bouncing around, doing its thing. Bittergrin with 100 bits says, maybe Carrie's not the scammer. Maybe Zmoo is scamming her. This is all a Venusian crank call. There's a Venusian prince with a large sum of galactic credits he needs to unload. Are you willing to help?
You get more of being sick. You get more of I can't do this. If you want to live a life of health, financial abundance, you can't be saying, I'm sick, I don't have money. You can't even be saying, I need money. Because when you need it, you're not going to get it. It's when you don't need it that it
Take that, pores!
comes to you effortlessly.
Fuck you, you fucking asshole. Fuck you, Sky.
I struggled with that word this morning. I went away and practiced that word effortlessly. That was hard for me this morning. I've been saying it a few times today, effortlessly. And Michael was helping me. It's like, yeah, it rolls off your tongue. Yeah. I'm like, okay, radio, okay. So, even if your focus is on the medbed, you are still pushing it away. Because if you think you need a medbed to heal you, you're not ready for the healing of a medbed. Because the 5D technology is all about consciousness. It's not about the technology. It's about the consciousness that
Okay, then it's not technology.
goes with the technology.
How is it technology then?
So 5D technology. 5D means you are aware of yourself. Okay, you are aware of yourself. And when you are aware of yourself, you are responsible for your life, for your spiritual,
Is this moving the goalposts? Yeah, we can count that. Moving the goalposts.
emotional, mental, and physical life. When you 5D, you don't need the technology, but the technology comes to you. Okay? The technology comes to you. Why? Because you're in the flow state. Now you're responsible. Now you're ready to...
Flow state is like when you're playing Tetris and you get really into it to the point that your brain is like coming up with things automatically. It doesn't have to be Tetris, but you know what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with this. Fennikagami says, speaking of scammers, I've been watching a video essay on Andrew Tate, I guess because I hate myself, and it's made me realize even more how shit at her job Illuminati was. She just believed Tate about his kickboxing record, chess credentials, and the story about his father, and none of it was true. Tate was a paper champion who got his record beating up teenagers in his 20s in no-name kickboxing leagues. He's never competed in chess, and his dad was only International master. I don't know what that last thing means in terms of chess, because I'm not a big chess person. But yeah, Illuminati sucked, unfortunately. Ugh.
Actually use the technology to better yourself, not to heal you, because you already understand that your thoughts create your reality, and if you want to be healthy, all you have to do is shift your thoughts into a positive direction, and you will shift into a reality where you are healthy. Yeah? Right. So if you're shifting into a reality where you are healthy because your mindset is focused on good health instead of poor health, the medbeds will only complement your health. Okay? That's what the medbeds are being released for. They're not being released to heal you. They're being released to complement your healing. Okay? Complement your healing. It's not about, I'm sick, I have to get a medbed because the government held it from me and I deserve it. That will put you to the back of line.
She's such a fucking asshole!
Seriously. Okay?
Like, it's like she spent years building this up for her audience of marks, and then when they're like, hey, where are the med beds you promised? She's like, how dare you? How dare you hold me to a promise I made you? Like, she's such an asshole.
You have every opportunity to help yourself now. Now, if you have a mindset of, I am poor, I am homeless, I am sick, guess what's going to happen?
You hear that, sick homeless people? You've had it too good for too long, bucko. This is all your fault.
You're just going to get
Fucking hell.
more of that. You will not become healthy
Zmoo is a Republican, confirmed.
even with medbed, because your mind is focused on sick. You will not become rich and abundant in finances because your mind is always, I am poor, I need money.
International Master is the level below Grandmaster, which is what Tate claimed his dad was. A Grandmaster is the highest rank outside the world champ, and there are only 2,000 Grandmasters in the world. Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Okay, do you see where I'm going? Do you understand what I'm saying? So if, hey Fun has just walked in. He's sitting on that chair just behind Kerry's shoulder. So if you are
Is he in the room with us right now? Just a Peach says, I'm enjoying the stream. It is distracting me from the fact that one of my temp crowns came off and the nerve is exposed, I think by the amount of pain I'm in. Thanks for the laughs. That sounds horrible. I'm really sorry.
focused
Maybe mashed potatoes for dinner.
on this last comment, I no longer have epilepsy. Oh my God, I was going to say leprosy. I put in two words together. I no longer have epilepsy. I am healed. No, that's still not good mindset. Okay? Let's break it down into words.
You successfully deluded a person into thinking they no longer have epilepsy, and even that's not good enough for you. Holy shit.
Okay. If you have cancer, you have a tumor, okay? Let's say you've been diagnosed with cancer, and you say, I have cancer. Bingo, you have just said to the universe, I want more cancer.
Is the universe an idiot? Does the universe not understand anything? What are you talking about? What? Stating facts? Like, if you have cancer, stating that you do is just a fact. You're not allowed to state facts or the universe will fucking impale you with tumors? What the hell?
Because you have identified with it. If you say, I am healing.
I identify with a meteorite randomly falling out of the sky and striking her house. Midnight with 51 months says, Jesus, this medbed lady sure uses a lot of words to say absolutely nothing of value.
or I no longer.
The value is my entertainment.
You're still identifying with a reality where you have something wrong with you, which is not perfect health. If you say, I am perfect 100% of the time for the experience I need in the here and now.
Overthought says, this is bordering on Christian Science theology. Just pray or think your ailments away. I'm not super familiar with Christian Science. I should get into that sometime and figure out what the fuck they're about.
Guess what happens? You start healing because your mindset
Almost on a
says
hype
there's
train.
nothing wrong with you. Nothing at all. You are 100% perfect. So now, instead of your body healing, you're actually more, you're healing, but you're shifting into a reality where you are perfect already. Because remember, there are many, 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 many different versions of you. Many different versions of you. So all you have to do is change your mindset and shift to a reality, a version of.
Soulless says, she's horrible, Hannah. The earliest news record we have of her is 1992. Back then she was pushing being a medium to aliens for spiritual advice. Oh, so she's like a lifelong scammer.
You, that's already healthy. Okay? So you don't really heal yourself. You change your mindset so you can shift into a reality where you are already abundant in health. Okay? That's how we do it. We don't go, I healing myself. I healing myself. Myself is being healed. We shift into a reality where we are already experiencing what we want. Okay? Now, if you're struggling for money, which many of you are, the answer is so simple. So simple. Close your eyes. Let's do experiment. Let's do little exercise for right now.
I'm betting this isn't going to help anybody with their money issues. Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 20 tier 1 subs. That will help me with my financial issues. Thank you, Nemesaur, again for your generosity. 93% to level 5 on the hype train. If you want to help the hype train, bits, subscriptions, and gift subs help. Gift subs are always really helpful, so thank you, Nemesaur, and anyone else who decides to give some.
Everybody close their eyes while Carrie has a drink, okay? Okay. Everybody's eyes are closed? Good.
You meant to say
Now,
2012? Okay, gotcha.
What is, imagine yourself asleep and you're just about to wake up for the day, which many of you are. Many of you are about to wake up. What if you could do anything in the world? If you could do anything in the world today, money makes no difference. What would be the most exciting thing that you could possibly do? What are you so passionate about that you are so ready to jump out of bed and go and do? Guess what? You have the ability to do it. And I give you a secret. If you are passionate about something, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter how much money it costs, makes no difference. If you are passionate about something, you have the ability to do it.
That's absolutely not true. Lots of things require money that people do not have, and you can't wish yourself into having solvency.
Now,
Financial solvency.
They're saying, I can't because of my health. I can't because of my finances. I can't because I'm not in the right country. I can't because I have a child to take care of. All excuses.
Carrie says, fuck them kids!
That you place upon yourself because you're not ready to take the chance. Okay, now listen to me. We have people in the Paralympics that are in so much pain every day, and they're competing at international elite Olympic.
Okay, that's great, but that doesn't mean that everyone who has disabilities, who may not even have the same disabilities as the people who are in the Paralympics, that doesn't mean all of them are capable of being Olympic level athletes any more than I'm capable of right now going and doing the long jump. What are you talking about?
Sport. So tell me, you have a bit of back pain?
A bit of back pain. Holy fuck, so rude.
Okay. Go watch the Paralympics. You have sore leg? Go watch the Paralympics. Go work with a veteran who's lost his legs for a day.
Okay, what if he wants his legs back, Carrie? What if he's the one who's complaining to you? Bittergrin, thanks for gifting a sub and getting us over level 5 of the hype train. Thank you so much for that gift sub.
Okay? Not lost his legs for a day. Go work with a veteran who has lost his legs and work with them for a day. That's what I mean.
What if the veteran yells at you, Carrie, and says, "You promised me med beds. Where's my med bed, Carrie, you fucking asshole?"
That's what I mean. Okay. That come out a bit wrong, but okay. There is no excuses. You bedridden? Okay. Stop saying you bedridden. You are capable. You are able. This is how.
That's actually how Grandpa Joe did it. He was able to go to the Wonka factory thanks to advice from Zmoo.
Disabled people get to the top in their sport, in their career, because they don't focus on what they can't do.
Fucking insane take.
Because they know limitations will stop you, and only you put the limitations on you. They focus on what they can do. Okay, what they can do. Nothing to do with what they can't do. That doesn't even enter their mind. They will find a way.
Bummel Homestead, thanks
Okay,
for gifting
they
us
will find
up.
a way. So if you're sitting at home in your bed or your chair saying, "Oh, I would love to do this, I'd love to do that, but I can't because," then you have the mindset of staying exactly where you are.
Bittergrin with 100 bits says, "Why is Moo bothering with this? Why doesn't he just manifest a world where we all already accepted this? He'd save so much time." Something free will, probably. Works for a lot of religious people, so probably a good borrow.
Not progressing anywhere. Okay? Now, if we're looking at technology with mindset and consciousness, what we're looking at is the technology that's about to be released onto your planet can be...
Why does it matter? You said it doesn't do anything. Freyline says, "You know how many delusional people get in trouble in the woods because they're delusional about their abilities? People believing they can do things is just as much of a problem as not believing in yourself."
controlled and used by...
Look at most of the people on this show for good examples, including me.
connecting to the technology.
I haven't talked about this. I don't talk about the fundy stuff anymore, but does anyone follow Paul and Morgan? Speaking of delusion, Paul thinks he's going to be a professional pickleball player for a living, which is pretty funny. Might have to do a stream about that, just because it's so delusional.
Through your own consciousness. You don't have to press buttons. You can if you're not conscious enough. But if you're conscious enough, guess what? There is a healing device that will be available to certain projects on your planet in the coming months. That for those who are not conscious enough will need to hold it in their hand and activate it through the use of buttons.
Okay, so you can use it? Question mark. So I'll just do that. That sounds good. Minute left on the hype train, 25% to level 6.
For those who are conscious enough, you don't even need to pick it up. You connect to it with your mind Oh my god. The pillow is moving on its own.
What?
That's not me. Oh my god. The pillow literally in the corner lifted up and move over. That's not me. I didn't do it. Oh my god. I think somebody else is here in different dimension.
That's the only explanation, clearly.
That's just strange. I'm normally the one to do those things. To levitate. I was just about to talk about levitation, and the
Thanks for the hype train, everyone.
pillow lifted up and moved. I didn't do it, I promise.
I don't believe you, Smoo. You're such a liar.
That's creepy. Oh my god. Okay. Back to you. I shouldn't be creeped out. I'm multi-dimensional. Oh my god.
Breaking character a little bit there, I think. I shouldn't be creeped out. I'm multi-dimensional.
Maybe it's Gabrielle playing joke on me. That's the pillow. Look, it's the pillow. Look. Big red doggy pillow. It lifted up off the ground and moved sideways and fell over. It wasn't me. I standing behind Carrie. It wasn't me. Anyway, okay. I find out later who did it. But let's go back to you. It wasn't me. I telling truth, not me. Oh my god. Anyway, there's nothing negative here. It's all good. Okay. Now I forgot. Oh yeah, the technology. Okay, so if you're conscious enough, you can pick it up with your mind from a distance. Literally anywhere in the multiverse, you can connect to this healing device. And you can heal somebody multi-dimensionally, meaning from different dimensions, using this device. And the people
So whoever has this device should just use it to heal everyone in the multiverse all at once.
you're healing
Why aren't they? Are they an asshole?
don't even know about it. This is Arcturian Venusian technology that we've had for many thousands and thousands of years. Many thousands of years. To those who are not conscious enough, they have to be in the same dimension as the person who is being healed, and they have to physically hold it and press buttons. But for the conscious person, you don't even need to be in the same universe. You just connect to it. It can travel in different dimensions wherever you send it and go and heal somebody. Several, or on the other side of the universes. If you put them all in this side by side, you can be over here, and the very last one here, you can make it travel all the way through the different universes, through all different kinds of energetic portals, just by using your mind. Now, do you think being in a state of lack would give you this ability to control this device?
Maybe I don't need to control it multidimensionally. Maybe I just want someone to fix my leg.
No way. No way. Not even close. So, if you're thinking that you're going to be the perfect candidate for health, but you're identifying with your poor health or your current health situation, then you're not ready for healing. You're not ready for health. Because only when you switch your mindset, to perfect health for the experience you need at this time, and take the opportunity that your health complaint is giving you, only then are you ready for perfect health. And many of you think the medbed will give you perfect health. No, it won't. Because unless...
Then what is it? What's the point? That's kind of the definition of a medbed, is it heals anything. That's the whole point of the scam.
This is in perfect health. This never will be. Okay? Medbed or not. Many people think the medbed will make their life perfect in every way. Oh, if once I healed, I will be able to do this. Once I healed, I'll be able to do that. Why can't you do it now?
My legs got blown up in Vietnam. You lied to me, Carrie.
I ask you.
I'm a retiree on a fixed income. Why did you lie, Carrie?
Why can't you do it now? What you want to do?
Harold Ellerman says, I'm currently identifying with the Reese's dipped animal crackers, and my ass is no less crunchy than it was 20 minutes ago. I want Reese's dipped everything. Give me. Give Reese's. Give Reese's now. Send me money for Reese's. Send me money for... Luckily, I do have ice cream in the freezer. That's like... It's not specifically Reese's branded, but it is peanut butter cup ice cream. It's pretty okay, so... That'll call to me later tonight, probably.
Later? After medbed? Why can't you do now? I can hear it. All these different excuses coming. But you know what those excuses are? You think it's truth.
At least I say Reese's correctly. Yeah, Reese's. It rhymes with pieces. If you say Reese's, I hate you.
It is a limiting belief you hold for fear of success. That's what it is. It is a limiting belief you hold for fear of success. That's it.
You've not helped anyone! All you said is, oh, you have a disability or chronic pain. Fuck you. Get over it. That's all you said.
That's all it is. All those things going through your mind, why you can't live your passion, it's just a limiting belief.
Just a Peach with a $3 tip says, Reese's money. Thank you.
That you can get rid of at any time you want. And then you can move forward. Nothing more, nothing less. The one holding the technology back from you is you believe.
No, it's you, Carrie. Okay, there is no technology to hold back, but you're the one that promised in the first place that this technology existed, which you have no right to do, because it doesn't. You're the asshole. Fuck you, Carrie.
Believing you need it. Have you ever been in a hurry and looking for...
All right, we can call it on this video. We've spent at least half an hour on it, so we can move on. Good to see Smoo back, even if he is a huge asshole. Let's take a look at the bingo card real quick. We have, believes they speak to aliens regularly. Shilling scamming. Dimensions beyond our own. Clones. Believes sci-fi technology exists. Vibes-based conspiracy. Moves goalposts. Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism. Does she really believe she talks to aliens? I'll count it if it's a claim they're making. It doesn't have to be something they necessarily really believe, as long as they claim it. Atlantis, yes. No, not aliens did it, because she wasn't claiming any specific historical thing was aliens. Anything else? I think that's it. What about levitating the pillow? What about it?
The Earth has become a realm in order to trap souls within so that they can harness our electricity, our energy. Even the Bible is talking about how this realm is controlled by the wicked one in John 5:19. We know that we are the children of God and that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. Ephesians 6:12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities.
Is he just gonna read the
against pain,
Bible?
because you're
No.
not seeing into the
Okay,
act
he
of
does
the
move
brain
on.
for its energy and how you are tricked to come back to this realm after death. What you need to understand is first is that you are the invisible intelligence behind the physical body. You are the mind and soul. The soul is the true you, the good you. It is pure love, pure bliss, eternal, never
So it's your super ego.
dies. The mind can be corrupted though. The mind is the intelligence of the soul. It is invisible. It has no true form.
No, I don't think this is flat Earth.
Intelligence inhabits the brain. The brain is the computer to control the electrical machine called the nervous system, which is choice, program, and action.
This kind of feels like rebranded super ego, id, and maybe ego. I don't know. Or maybe super ego, ego, id. I don't know. It's not an exact one-to-one.
Or the invisible intelligence behind the body. And this will prove it even more. You do not even see into the external world. You are seeing an image produced by the brain because the light is being sucked through the retinas of the eyes.
Yeah, man, how do you expect to see anything? Like, what do you need sensory organs to sense things. We exist. We exist physically. We need physical apparatus to allow us to discern things around us.
Image is produced in the visual cortex at the back of the brain. What does this mean? This means that we are the consciousness in the center of the brain, in the pineal gland.
Okay, no, we don't know where consciousness is from, or even if it is centralized at one position in the brain. It's certainly within the brain, but we don't know if it's a localized thing, or if it's diffuse within the brain. We have not found, like, a part of your brain that is the consciousness. That's not a thing.
That is experiencing the program being ran by the central nervous system in the brain. This is the sigil of Lucifer. Lucifer in Latin is Lucy. Lucy is light in Latin. Lucifer is known as the light bearer. This is how the eyes work, people. It's not a demon or a devil. The sigil for Lucifer is how the eyes work and how the left eye.
No, it's not. Spurious symbology is evidence on the bingo card.
Is controlled by the right brain. The right eye is controlled by the left brain. There is a crossover. It's the same with the body. The left side of the body is controlled by the right brain. The right side of the body is controlled by the left brain. There's a crossover with our hemispheres in the brain. Now, this empty chamber in the center of the brain is where this universal cosmic intelligence is held, known as the most holy place in the Bible, the throne of God. Okay.
The Bible isn't referring to a place in your brain.
This is above the 33 vertebrae on the spine. As you can see here, you are the being in the center of this point. All of the nerves are being sent back to this one particular point, which is the seat of our invisible intelligence. You can see it's an empty chamber. Our consciousness, our intelligence is not a physical thing. This intelligence is the true voice inside of your head. This is why
No.
your head is heaven, your heart is earth, your
Okay, this one's getting a little stupidly esoteric for me, so I'm moving on. Oh, the fake psychic's back. She's gonna talk to William Shakespeare for us. Wonder how Bill's doing.
Greetings, salutations. It's Mr. Reality, joined by psychic medium Liz Cross. Liz, thanks for having me today. How are you?
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm good. You've covered this a little bit before, but I wanted to just go back to William Shakespeare. There were some questions that weren't asked and weren't answered that I wanted to know about. And this is not, by the way, your co-host, Mr. Shakespeare. This is the original bard of Avon, William Shakespeare, that we're going to be talking about for clarification.
Oh, great. Well, this will be fun to channel Shakespeare. I have him here.
All right. I just want to say thanks to everybody who donated to my Ko-Fi page. I've been posting a little bit more there each week with my remote viewing findings. So if you haven't checked it out, you can go to Ko-Fi.
People are paying you money for shit you made up in your imagination that you're pretending is real. Ugh.
.com reality forecast or kick down below. Also, please go back and share one of the videos or 3 of the videos that Liz has. Give her a thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. William Shakespeare, how you doing today? What's he appear as to you?
He looks very much like he does in that picture.
Whoa, crazy! He looks like he looks in the pop cultural depiction of himself? Wow.
He's a bit of a drinker, by the way. He smells of alcohol. I don't know where he's been all
How can
night.
he smell of? He's not alive.
I'm sorry, you can get a spiritual smell. You can connect with Shakespeare and you can smell him psychically. You can psychically smell him. Wow. I'm learning a lot.
How can that be? He brought the smell with him, like, and it carries over?
Yeah. I'm like, what have you been doing all night? I think he's been up all night partying or something. Oh, he's laughing.
He's dead. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. Judgmental.
He liked to roam around in circles and they would drink and talk about ideas, is what I'm getting very strongly. That's why he smells of alcohol. He also smoked as well.
How can he bring that smell with him holographically as a scent?
How did you bring that? It's energy. He manifested energy and
Okay, but your smell is like you have chemoreceptors. You have like chemical receptors that pick up on things. So how would you do that with energy? Your eyeballs detect energy. Your nose detects chemicals.
into certain smells. He definitely smells like an old pub, right? Like a old wine bar pub.
Wow. I would like to smell like an old wine bar pub. That sounds great. How did he manage to write so prolifically during his lifetime?
How did you
Was it a
manage?
combination of other people helping him? And
How did you manage to write so prolifically? And there was almost like a group of them that were
Oh my god, is she gonna do the stupid fucking claim that Shakespeare didn't write his own plays? I hate that conspiracy. It's so goddamn stupid.
hiding behind the Shakespeare name.
I hate this conspiracy. I think it's so fucking stupid.
people have said Marlowe, Middleton, even
A lot of it is instigated by people who are in disbelief that someone who is like one of the common people could write so prolifically and so popularly. It's weird classist bullshit.
Francis Bacon. Did you ever work with Francis Bacon?
Did you ever work with her? Yes.
Well, that brings the 6 degrees of Bacon separation to a whole new level. If you
That's a bad joke.
wanted to include the Shakespeare movies, Kevin Bacon, it's a game you can play. How involved were you in the editing? I mean, did you just give free rein to your kind of your cadre of writers, or what was the writing process like for you?
Did you You do a lot of editing. It would have to be approved. Did you write? I mean, don't get me wrong, he did write a lot, but once he became quite popular, a lot of people piggybacked on his name, his reputation.
Why would they want to do that? Why would they want someone else to get credit for their work? That doesn't make any sense.
Henry VI, part 1, 2, and 3 allegedly took 8 to 9 months to write each one, and there were like 40 to 60 characters involved. How did you keep in your head all those characters?
How did you keep in
Are you serious?
characters? With a lot of fine wine, he says. No, how did you keep in your head all those characters? So he didn't write that by himself, okay? There were how many? 3 or 4 writers of that. And how did you all keep up with it? Well, one person was in charge of, a number of characters. Another person was in charge of more characters. He was in charge of the main characters, but
That doesn't even make sense. Why would you write a play like that where some people are in charge of some characters and others? That doesn't even make sense from a collaborative perspective.
that was a group effort.
Like, this feels like people who have never written anything trying to describe a writing process that they've never taken part in.
What's your reaction to people like today, or even at your time, that says that you plagiarized your works from earlier classical works?
He certainly got inspiration from them. For instance, Romeo and Juliet was not a story he invented, but basically adapted. And of course, many of his plays are historical. They're historical fiction in some cases, but they're supposed to be based on real events, even if they're not necessarily accurate.
Did you plagiarize? I mean, he's saying he didn't really plagiarize. Did you borrow themes and ideas? I mean, yes, he did borrow themes and ideas, but then he would put his own spin on it and make it into, something else.
You married Anne Hathaway, and how
Am
did
I channeling Shakespeare right now?
your relationship
No.
with Anne work out? How did you?
If I did, I'd have better jokes. And I would understand iambic pentameter. Still not clear on that one. I know it's like da 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 da. I know there's a certain. I don't get it.
What was your relationship like? You had 3 kids, so.
What was your relationship like with Anne Hathaway? It wasn't a good relationship. It was very difficult, very strained. He was not around very much. I feel like he had a writer's studio, is what he's telling me, or a writing room. He would lock himself away in there for hours. He would meet people down at the pub, what he's telling me, a public house of sorts, and they would meet outside.
Everyone borrows ideas. That's how art works. Don't tell what you're telling me. Star Wars wasn't original. Oh, what else we got? This video is just entitled "Taking DMT and Seeing the Clown," and the clown is capitalized like it's like the definite article, the clown.
Arithmia from Jamaica.
Yes, Rahul Bat. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Excellent. Right, so what's your question for today?
My question is, well, at first I want to say that I'm not encouraging anybody to take DMT, but for the people that have tried dimethyltryptamine, they claim that they experienced entering into a realm where they witness a clown-like being called a jester. Can you tell me about that?
Well, I can't tell you about what their experience is, but in Wu Sabat, we don't really encourage anyone to take anything such as DMT. But of course, we know that what it does it interacts with the area of your brain in the hippocampus region, which is what causes hallucinations. And, you know, this is what people take, what they call psychedelic drugs and so forth, so that they can try and experience being on higher dimensions or spiritual encounters and so forth.
Or just being high on drugs, man.
But of course,
doesn't have to be that deep.
Everyone's individual experience is going to be different. We know that we teach by way of Parnabab Yanun, the master teacher, about your barothry gland that was removed, which gave you the ability to access your higher senses, right? Such as, you know, telepathy, intuition, psychometry, and clairvoyance.
They stole my telepathy lobe, those bastards.
And when people induce themselves by taking artificial stimulants, they will have all kinds of experiences. Other people will do things like ayahuasca and so on and so forth, but it's all based on someone taking something to induce a situation or a condition that you can actually access naturally. You know, so we focus.
I forget the actual name, but yeah, he's into the Yakub stuff, where they think that that big-headed guy created white people.
On
yeah,
natural nature and natural remedies, and not trying to make things happen, you know, by using stimulants. So when you
does he know that stimulants and hallucinogenics aren't like mutually? They're not synonymous.
So you want to know about the extraterrestrials, yeah? This seems to be a very popular topic at the moment. So
uses AI on the bingo card.
Yeah, we're gonna dive in. So people want to know about. I mean, you hear things like UFOs, UAPs now, yeah. But if we used to say IFO instead of UFOs, because UFO is unidentified flying objects, yeah. But you're looking at it and identifying it. So obviously we change that to identified flying objects. That's what they should really be called. But over time,
at that point, just say what it is then. If you've identified it,
that most people are familiar with now is UAPs, which is unidentified aerial phenomena, right? So we're going to get into, obviously, extraterrestrials. We say extra.
They changed it to UAP, by the way, to get away from the crackpot alien people, and clearly that's been going great.
Yeah, terrestrial, because we know that the word extra means additional or adding to. Terrestrial comes from the word terra or the word terrain, which deals with the planet Earth. In fact, one of the names for the planet Earth in ancient times was Terra. And the terrain deals with the terrain. And when you say opposite to terrestrial is really celestial, which deals with the heavens above, the sky, etc. So anything that's extra on the terrain or the planet Terra is known as extraterrestrial. So all of these terms and names is relating to the different beings and entities. So what we're going to cover today is the extraterrestrial species and how the people on the planet, how the races relate to these extraterrestrials. Now, what's actually interesting is that now that it's becoming a popular subject, everybody's jumping on it. But if you look at any books and scrolls that Parnabab Yanun, the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, put out, he's the only person from the get-go that came saying, I'm an extraterrestrial from another planet called Risk, right? Planet Risk, spelt like this. And back then, everybody was like, you're crazy, ridicule, laughing. But look at all the posters. Every poster you ever see him with,
everyone made fun of him, but look at this poster. And you know what? I'm starting to believe him, because that poster's in a frame, and I respect that.
Ridicule, laughing. But look at all the posters. Every poster you ever see him with, you see a craft in the background. Look at this one, craft. Go back and look.
Yeah, they're posters someone made. It's not a photo. Look it. We drew him with a UFO. He has to be an alien.
look at all the books that he has actually put out, he will always have crafts or him coming down from a craft. And so, you know, there's a book put out called The Man from Planet Risk, yeah, which is now becoming The Man from Planet Risk. And this book is so popular, not only because it was talking about him being an extraterrestrial from the planet Risk, but he was giving out information about different extraterrestrials on the planet and how they've had an involvement with the government, etc., etc., and giving out information about many projects that were going on at the time, which many people weren't familiar with. But we're going to dive into the different species of extraterrestrials. We're going to start off with these, right? These are called the Deros, and their leader of the Deros is known as Yabahan. All right, Yabahan, that's him. Right, the Deros is a group of insane cave dwellers, and they were called the Sumerian, meaning the obese ones, or Samim, and the Abanderos, or as they are called today, Deros, which is a combination of the words detrimental and robots. That's where you get the word Deros from, because two parts, detrimental and robot. These Sumerian or Deros really exists. Their chief is known as Yabahan, as I mentioned before. The Sumerians...
That sounds a lot like Jabba the Hutt. Is that on purpose?
...are constantly in conflict with the group of beings called...
I'm gonna be real. This could be construed as an incredibly anti-Semitic, like, intentional caricature, which I'm also pretty concerned about.
The Duanis, who hold the same belief that they too will take over the planet one of these days, right? The planet Earth. They are born by hatching from eggs that
or something Cyrano de Bergerac
are 4 to 6 feet in diameter. Never before you're gonna get such detail about these different extraterrestrial species here on the planet. All right, so they grow to 7 feet and are extremely obese. The Deros, who live in the caves, are degenerated so much that they don't have much intelligence. They have 2 stomachs and their digestive system is the same as that of a cow. Deros and cows both chew the curd, which means that when they eat, they chew their food and it goes through the initial stages of digestion.
That means that they're technically ceremonially clean to eat, so that's good.
Where it reaches a large sac that is before the true stomach. The food is then regurgitated to the mouth for further chewing. This is called chewing the curd. The Deros have no fingernails, no toenails, nipples, navel, or rectum. Their eyes are silver grey and they
don't have a butthole. Where do they poop?
They glow in the dark.
Do they have a cloaca?
They have blonde eyebrows and a pinkish grey colour skin, much like the corpse of a Caucasian and a pig, having not been exposed to the inner or outer sun. Other than their eyebrows, they have no hair on their bodies because of a disease called trichotillomania. Not easy.
I mean, is that a disease for them, or is that just how their species is? A disease is not typically describing the standard for a species. It's not a disease then, that's just how they are.
To pronounce, and are responsible for the disease known as trichinosis and trichiniasis. They have no teeth. Their mouth appears to be full of a gummy, slimy substance. They are nocturnal.
I mean, so is mine.
And hear extremely
gums and spit
well. They're not very peaceful and have a strong dislike for human beings. They are very human in appearance, yet far from it. Their noses are long, trunk-like, which is very similar to that of an elephant. They contend that the planet Earth was theirs originally and will be theirs again one day. Many people today who are obese are descendants of the Deros.
Oh, yeah. That's the compulsion to pull out hair. I had a family member who had that. She was treated. I think she's doing better now, so that's good.
People that are very, very overweight. We're not talking about just the normal average weight, but people that are like, you know, have serious weight problems and weigh over 300 pounds and more. It is not normal for human beings. It is obviously
I mean, it's not typical. Usually people who do that have, like, binge eating conditions and, like, reasons that they eat emotionally or other things. Aliens, it's not that. I've seen a lot of episodes of My 600-Pound Life. Not once have they mentioned aliens.
Hereditary glandular problem and is caused by overactive glands. Certain endocrine glands disorders such as hyperthyroidism or tumors of the adrenal gland, pancreas, or pituitary gland can cause obesity. It is a trait of the Deros. They are from the Deros. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is the next extraterrestrial species known as the Terros, yeah, which is slightly different from the Deros. These are the Terros, and you know that's Lamsa. All right, let's get into
They're cone head elves.
The Terros, which is short again from integrative or constructive, are a subsurface race that usually keep the Deros in check. The Terros were the original tribe of the Lunarians who came to this planet to dwell beneath the surface of the earth. They are referred to as the Sunanans, meaning the yearly ones. The Deros were for disagreeable people and the Terros were for agreeable people. Their chief named is Lamsa. The Terros came from the planet Jomon, right? So Jomon is spelled Jomon, right? That's the planet they came from. From Jomon.
I'm glad he cut back to his thing for that. It's important we know how to spell it. Newbie Faye, thanks for a 3-stream streak, says, are we having fun yet? I'm always having fun. And Will Kale says, I hope that's not an AI-generated Joe Rogan without a shirt.
In the star constellation known as Arcturus, which is in the Boots constellation. Arcturus, the red giant, the fourth brightest star in the heaven, is where much mixing took place. So the Sunayanans have 48 chromosomes instead of the normal 46 that humans have on the Earth. The Terros chromosome structure is so different from Earthlings that when mixed with certain humans, it caused a defect of 47 chromosomes.
Oh, fuck.
Which today is called Down syndrome.
Fuck you.
Syndrome can be found in all races of the planet Earth. For every 800 children out of 1,000 children are being born on Earth has this trait, Down syndrome. Their children are
You want to throw that number by me again? What did you just say?
In all races of the planet Earth. For every 800 children out of 1,000 children are being born on Earth has this trait, Down syndrome.
He just said that 80% of children have Down syndrome, which is not accurate. That's obviously not accurate, like at a face value. What? What? What?
Their children are usually born with breathing defects as well as congenital heart disease, and they also have poor digestive systems. Their immune system is unable to function properly and they are more apt to developing leukemia. The Terros that have an abundance of pigmentation in their skin are descendants of the Shuyuk. Those who are lacking in pigmentation are
No, that's not rounding error. That's just completely wrong.
Descendants of the Halibines, the Flugerods, or the Hulu. The Terros bored further into the earth and were able to keep their sanity. Because of crossbreeding, the Terros took on different forms and others look so human they can come to the surface and not be noticed. And you notice they made a movie called The Coneheads and, you know, showed beings that look like them. Right, we're going to keep going. These are the Anunnaki, right? So with the Anunnaki, where a lot of people are talking about the Anunnaki, right? This is what they look like. So from the top, you got Nagal, then you got Ninki in the middle, top. Then you have Arish Kigal. Then you have Ninti, Enlil, Ishtar, and Enki. Right, so everybody's familiar with Enlil and Enki, who are brothers. Want to go into who the Anunnaki are? The Anunnaki.
Okay, I think I gotta call it on this video. It's just driving me crazy. And we weren't even a third of the way through it, so I gotta move on. Excuse me. Oh, Bittergrin says, I'm weirdly angry that he's stealing the Darrow and Tarot from a different older conspiracy, the Shaver Mystery hoax. You should dig into some old-time conspiracies one day. I think that would be fun. What's wrong with its face? Oh, God. Like someone just like, do they normally look like that, or did someone punch him and invert his nose? Oh, you made a whole song. So this guy, JP, I showed a quick clip of, I think, last Tinfoil. He's another one of these super soldier guys that claims that he's on all these secret missions involving aliens and stuff. He's not.
Missions to an Atlantic space arcing solar system, soon to show his face, exploring the cosmos, rocking out in the galaxy. JP's on a cosmic spree with his guitar in hand.
Oh, he's got a guitar like fucking Android Kikaider. He's so cool. He's so cool.
We'll conquer the stars, just lake and sea.
Oh yeah, this is AI generated. This is the intro. There's he actually gets on camera here in a sec. This is just his theme song or something. Why does it sound like an anime song? Because he probably said, make me an anime sounding theme song. Oh yeah, the video is also fucking AI slop. That guy looks kind of like Johnny Storm, but shitty.
What's up, everybody? This is JP. I'm getting
He hides his face, by the way.
good feedback with the intro. I want to thank Steph again for doing the intro. Awesome. I'm still here in Japan.
Oh wow, he couldn't even make his own AI slop intro. Someone else made it for him.
Having a great time. Eating a lot. I think I gained like 6 pounds already. Oh my God, I'm having a blast here in Japan. I'm petting the deers in Nara Park over here in Osaka.
He's in Japan.
That was a beautiful experience.
That's funny.
Let me show you a video.
Why is this even an experience for him? According to him, he's been all over the galaxy. Going to Japan should be nothing.
Real quick of me petting the deers. Look how peaceful it is here. Hey. Look at this guy. He likes when I scratch the back part of his neck. Yeah, buddy. Also, in this trip, I was getting like a flashback. Like if I was here before, I went to the city of Osaka, and then from where we went.
Does the mask have a purpose beyond making me think he's completely unhinged? I think it's to hide his identity because he claims he's a U.S. Army veteran, which is possible, but I find the claim a little suspect. And even if he was in the Army, I think he doesn't want it to get out to the Army that he's using his veteran status to spread this bullshit. So I don't know. I think it's to hide his identity in case he's doing stolen valor, but also, you know, to keep his identity from getting called out for using his status to do this bullshit.
From there, we went to other villages nearby, and I went to different temples, and I started finding this algae all over the place that was similar to the arcs. And I was like, wow, this is bringing me like flashbacks. Let me show you a couple of these videos. It's interesting. And then the last video, I went into like a tunnel place, and I sang Akuria Mate. So this was, I already posted this in Instagram, but I'll show everybody here on YouTube again. This was really cool. Let me show you these videos. This is also similar of what I saw growing in the arcs.
Moss?
Oh, wow. It brings me back
Yeah, man, it's moss.
flashbacks.
Has he never seen moss before?
How it grows.
Maybe he comes from a dry region and he's not used to seeing it.
It's so beautiful. I'm getting a lot of flashbacks here. Wow. You see how the algae is here? Or is it like a type of...
Yeah, I know other people have pointed out in the chat. He keeps calling the moss algae. He keeps calling it algae. It's not algae.
type of grass. So beautiful. Similar to the arcs. But in the arcs, when you feel them, they glow to you. They glow. So you can do like a mark, and it stays glowing.
Like Pandora from Avatar. It just sounds like you're describing stuff from the movie Avatar.
Wow.
I don't know what he's referring to when he says arcs. I've not seen a ton of his stuff.
I thought it comes into the ball more. I might have to get one of these.
I'm over here in Arikishama. I think it's a village off Kyoto.
This is making me want to play more Assassin's Creed Shadows, so kudos for that. Have I ever told you guys what a big Assassin's Creed fan I am? I've played almost all of the games. I'm really liking Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Kyoto? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That water will be good surfing water. You know, there's a surf place over there in the English Garden, over there in Germany. Similar to this. Wow. Beautiful place. Akuria Mate. Wow.
Magos Informaticus informs us the arcs are spaceships that are supposed to be buried under different segments of the Earth, if I remember correctly. He claimed to... I'm adding the claim thing. He claimed to visit one under Florida, and if I remember correctly, he was also one of the people claiming Russia went to war with Ukraine to get one under the Olshki Sands. Oh my god, that's correct. Is this just vacation footage, but batshit? Kinda, yeah.
View here
Crazy people go on vacation too.
is astonishing. Look at the hills and valleys. Wow.
Is he a weeb? It wouldn't surprise me. I get the vibe that he's into anime. Japan's a beautiful place. You know, I could never go. I feel fat in America. If I went to Japan, I think people would start shouting Godzilla at me.
Whoa. This also brings back memory. Wow. Aku dia mate. Aku dia mate. It sounded just like that in the arcs. Aku dia mate. Ahoa, asoa, matioa. Aku dia mate. Yeah, and I'm having a great time walking around Tokyo, visiting different places in Tokyo. I went to Shibuya Crossing. Let me show you this video. It was amazing. Yeah. Yeah, boy.
Wait, your parents referred to Japan as a third world country? That's not accurate by any definition of third world country. What the fuck?
So this is how it looked from the top. Shibuya, in the heart of Tokyo. You guys gotta pass by here. It's amazing.
What am I looking at here? What was that?
And I got good news. I got another update coming up with Dr. Michael Sala. It's gonna be coming up next week of what happened in the Pacific. So that's gonna be an awesome update. So stay tuned with that. I had a great time here with Miss Miyoko, with Elena Denan, I shared the stage with, and you know, everybody brings their truth, everybody brings their story, and that's what I did. I brought my story, I brought my truth to the Japanese people, and they loved it, and it was awesome.
Okay, so not just a vacation. He spread his bullshit while he was there, so that's great.
The experience here in Japan. You know, I was here almost 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks, 15 around. I'm going to be here like 15 days around there. So, amazing. If you come to Japan, try the miso soup. Amazing. Other than that,
Sorry, that's funny to me. Like, imagine if I went to, like, it'd be like if I said, oh, you're coming to America, make sure you try a cheeseburger. Like, that's so vague in general. Like, not even from a specific place. I don't know. Miso soup's good. I like miso soup. It's just funny to recommend anywhere in the country. Get it.
let's bring the love. Let's bring the care.
He didn't even say, like, sushi. I'm sure you can get incredible fucking sushi in Japan for obvious reasons.
And the understanding of each other. And understand that, you know, what's happening around the world, it's affecting a lot of people. All this that's happening around the world, I'm not going to get into details or names or nothing like that, but it affects other people, you know, and it's affecting me. It's affecting you guys. We just have to be vigilant, share the love, share the care, understand who we really are from the inside out. Okay? I really love you guys, and I love all my supporters. And this is a short update.
Thanks, man. Very charismatic. I see why everyone loves you. Here's, I think, footage of him at the event. Still wearing the fucking mask.
This conference was in Tokyo, and I went to another city in Kyoto. If you guys are seeing my Instagram, you guys are seeing my stories of what cities.
This guy probably got to go to Japan for free because the conference probably paid for his flight. This crackpot liar got to go to Japan on someone else's dime because of these lies. Lovely.
I'm visiting in Japan, and then I went to Osaka. It's another beautiful city. It's just the
fucking guy. All right, moving on. Enough of this guy's travelogue.
In his book, Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids, when he was talking about the Spanish Inquisition, he has a woodcut picture in there. And it says, the caption of it, it says, in anticipation or to deter opposition for the Inquisition, in New Spain, 34 Negroes were hanged and decapitated in Mexico City.
Wow.
So that's crazy. So first of all, it's like, wait a minute. That presumes a couple things. It presumes that there were people in the New World.
Green guy with a $3 tip says, Hannah, you ever notice uncooked food in your fridge will sit a day or two before being quickly cooked, eaten, then made into leftovers, then go back in the fridge to sit for 1 or 2 days again? Yeah, it's a cold box. Yes? Yes.
In significant enough numbers to cause some problems about something happening on the other side of the pond.
We're already here.
See, this is amazing stuff, and even like with the invention of or the discovery of hair follicle testing, and then they ran some tests on Egyptian pharaohs, and what did they find? Cocaine. The only place you could find it on the planet,
South America.
I'm sorry, what? Did you just say they found cocaine in the hair fibers of Egyptian pharaohs? I'm gonna go with no on that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it showed for at least 10,000 years there was cross-cultural pollination across the Atlantic.
There's no doubt about it.
There you go.
The Olmecs came from Africa.
Yes.
Down in
what?
To South America and helped build that entire Teotihuacan civilization.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once again, and you've been down there, you've seen these things, and again, these are things, these are legacies of technology that can't be duplicated today.
Yeah.
So it was a mindset that was on the scene that could produce these things. So back to what you said about, we would have been on the moon.
Yeah.
Right? There was a German or Austrian national by the name of Rudolf von Sabbatendorf. Rudolf von Sabbatendorf was
Whenever conspiracy types start talking about Germans or Austrians, my butthole always clenches just a little bit. You know it's going to a bad place. Harold Elbelman, thanks for a 7-stream streak.
Veteran of World War I.
Okay.
World War I,
Cocaine was detected on an Egyptian mummy. It was believed to have been the result of contamination of the sample. It would have to be. I think it's probably similar to how they say something like the majority of bills have been contaminated, like dollar bills have been contaminated with cocaine. It's probably similar to that.
Germany took a beating. And that, because of that beating, is what gave rise to extreme German nationalism, which gave rise to Nazism.
Right.
Well, he had some friends in secret orders that introduced him to a very secretive order in Istanbul, Turkey, called the Bektashi Sufis, Islamic order.
Yeah.
He joins them. He learns their secrets, returns back to Germany, and starts his own secret society based on what he learned.
Yeah.
And that was the Thule Society.
Yeah, that's huge.
Okay, so you already see the connection.
Is that huge? I don't know if it's huge. It appears it got eaten, Harold Edelman. If you post it, I'll read whatever it was, but it didn't show up for me.
with exotic technologies, because now you have the Thule and then the Vril Society.
Yeah,
right.
Rhea Orsic.
Okay, you already know. You already know.
That's great. Tell him. Baby.
That's right. So Maria Orsic is how the
she's a Nazi.
German Workers' Party, which later became the Nazi Party, and the German Workers' Party is the political arm of the Thule Society.
Yeah.
So it's through her channeling. It's through her channeling that they received technology, blueprints, and schematics for their anti-gravity program.
Yeah,
okay, but they didn't have any anti-gravity anything. They lost the war, which you should be thankful for, by the way. You should be happy they lost the war.
Incredible schematics and technology. Engineering like no other, all channeled, written down on paper, and then actually put into real engineers' hands to replicate.
That's literally what happened. Yeah. And so this is
It was, in fact, not literally what happened. It did not happen.
Powerful. Because, of course, because it was channeled, the presumption is aliens. See, now we have to rethink what even the alien thing means, right? So there's this scientist by the name of Hal Puthoff.
Yeah.
You familiar with Hal?
Oh, we know Hal, yeah.
He wrote a paper not too long ago called Ultraterrestrial Models.
That was my next question. Yeah, right here. Next question on that.
So those in the know, especially in the intelligence communities, rather than use the word extraterrestrial, use ultra-terrestrial, because the travel is far less of an issue of physical distance.
Right.
The travel is vibratory from one dimension to another.
Again with the fucking vibrations. I get it. You've read The Flash. It's not how shit works in real life. Do I have a Fez? No, I would like to get one though.
Right? And so that's more accurate. That is more accurate.
Yeah.
But back with Maria Orsic, the presumption is, green men from Mars, right? Instead of ultra-terrestrials,
right?
Beings that, from a terrestrial perspective, were probably here longer than us on Earth. They're homegrown.
Yeah.
And that's a bit.
Podcasts were such a fucking mistake.
Big secret.
Jade Monkey, thanks for 20 months with Prime.
Great.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, there's a lot of, there is not a lot. There's some evidence of this.
Can you imagine future historians having to go through the infinite mountain of podcasts that exist for some sort of primary source research? Future historians, your job fucking sucks.
Yes.
There's things like the Ubaid culture coming out of Mesopotamia, which is now modern-day Iraq and Turkey.
Yes.
Where they discovered these...
this all stems from the medieval era of allowing peasants to learn to read. Honestly, I think Protestantism was a pretty big mistake, too. Now, but I'm not a papist. I am not religious at all. But I think Protestantism was... Oh boy, that did a lot. That has led to some knock-on effects.
Hundreds of statuettes of the Ubaid people who look like reptiles.
Yeah, so we're, the thing with the term ultra-terrestrial as opposed to extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial implies movement within 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
Right? It implies movements within 3 dimensions. But now, of course, quantum mechanics and quantum physics inform us.
Oh, you said quantum.
That there are multiple dimensions.
Yes.
Multiple levels of experience. It's way more than just 3D. So,
God, these people are so dumb.
And the behavior of UAPs, the behavior of a number of beings that have been encountered, give evidence that, okay, these things aren't happening just on 3D. These things are coming down to 3D. So the travel is more of a thing of not altitude,
Yeah.
but amplitude.
Boom.
You know what I mean?
They know the frequency to enter this dimension.
Come on. Exactly. And so that opens up literally a whole new
Martin Luther and his consequences nails thing to door. When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
physics.
Now, in fairness, I get it. The Catholic Church fucking sucks, especially at the time. But like, god damn it, dude.
No, it opens up a whole new physics, a whole new way of thinking, and once again, the powers that be, just like with Nikola Tesla.
You know what would be better than one corrupt church? Thousands of smaller corrupt churches. This is better. This is more wieldy.
Ran into, right? The powers that be are like, yeah, but if we let that be known, that's the end of us.
Yeah.
That's the end of our money.
Calvin says, hold my beer.
It's the end of our fortune. You're talking literally new world, or you're talking literally the hereafter from a religious term, the post-disclosure reality. Nobody pays for food.
Right.
Nobody pays for gas. Nobody pays for power.
Why is the end of all of these conspiracies just like a utopia? Holy shit, people are delusional. One who reads with a $5 tip says, Fez for Hannah Fund. Thank you very much.
Changes everything.
Yeah, everything's shifted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so there's the kibosh on.
Overthought with 100 bits says, small domino, Luther complaining, big domino, me in a burlap sack pretending to be a shepherd.
Disclosure, but with this whole thing with ultra-terrestrials, the Hal Puthoff in his.
Do I remember the movie Wag the Dog? Political. It's a political movie about manufacturing consent in order to hide a president's sex scandal? ? From the 90s, I think. Yeah. Vaguely, I remember.
Paper ultra-terrestrial models. He literally speaks to this. He's like, we're talking about the intelligence behind the UAP phenomena, UFO phenomena. It could be
hello, anti-war machine.
Extraterrestrial, but not extraterrestrial in the sense of some alien beings coming to Earth. Like there's something so interesting about Earth, right? And they're so more far advanced. He's looking at it from an external perspective, an extraterrestrial perspective. Earth, they were homegrown earthlings from a previous time,
right?
From a previous cycle, that went out to the stars and are returning home.
Wow,
you see,
a lot of sense too.
Absolutely.
If you understand Einstein's theory of relativity,
yes.
If their technology
which clearly they understand well. Did you see this guy's Fez?
was such that they would obtain a percentage of the speed of light moving away from the Earth to go explore, the galaxy.
Yes.
Then time would slow down for them.
You got it.
But our time, tens of years would go by, depending on how long they were gone. It could even be hundreds of years. It could even be thousands of years, depending on how far they went out away from us. And then on their return back, they may have only aged maybe 20, 30 years.
Come on now.
But for us, generations have passed.
Us generations. Now, that what you just said, brother, brings me back to something that we teach in our religious organization, which I'm convinced that a serious study of our faith tradition and the doctrines of our faith tradition is literally side training. It's side training. So one of the first things we're given by the founder of the organization, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, to study is time. The very first sentence in our religious literature, in the very first chapter, says this: time never was when man was not.
Wow. Yeah.
So just the content.
That's the kind of fortune cookie bullshit that sounds deep but isn't. Oh, did you know that time is just a thing we perceive? Oh, wow. You got any opinions on trees falling in the forest? Cool.
Completion of the statement is an initiation, because now you have to force your consciousness to think outside of time.
Right.
Oh, your two long ones are what you wrote? Let's see. Harold Edelman says, I've got a bachelor's and a master's in Spanish, so this shit pisses me off extra hard. Last thing first, by the time Mexico was officially getting called New Spain, they were already importing black slaves because they didn't infected, R-worded, and worked a bunch of natives to death. We're talking a generation or so, by the way. Other thing was this extraterrestrial V Ultra that they're not fucking up, a new way now. We already found a new world on Earth and described it in Latin, remember? Plus Ultra. There we go. Now, where did that video go we were watching? Lost it already. Shite. There they were.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, mine outside of time.
That's right. And so now you don't see something as time as a trap that you're trapped in, but you see time as an object that you can manipulate.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
They come to realize that time doesn't exist, clocks exist.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
The movie, one of my favorite movies, Lucy.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
That's one of your favorite movies? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Man, they dropped so many jewels in that movie, man. You know, they were talking.
They didn't. It's a movie for idiots. To give you an idea, it's a movie whose premise is based on the myth that humans only use 10% of their brain. Yeah.
Talking about, well, how does existence come about? And she literally said it. She says, time justifies existence.
Yes.
You're right?
That doesn't mean anything. That means nothing.
Yeah.
Time justifies existence, and time is motion. That's why we say,
no, it's not. Time is time.
Physics, space-time. 3 dimensions of space, 1 dimension of time.
Right.
Because without one, you don't have the other.
Right. Right.
And space is determined by what? Distance. And distance implies motion.
Right.
Motion creates time.
Exactly.
What? No, none of that follows. What are you fucking talking about?
You know?
We need that construct of that arrow.
Is the Fez covering a severe brain injury I should know about?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so we can navigate this realm.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ. Everything is so stupid.
Galactic Contact video number 3, creating interdimensional portals. Contact.thunderwizard.com. This is the Galactic Contact video course, a 10-step practical course learning how to communicate with and channel.
Sorry, I didn't watch the first 2 parts. I hope this isn't too confusing.
Higher dimensional extraterrestrial beings. And this can be found at contact.thunderwizard.com. So, what is video number 3 all about? Creating interdimensional portals. So, in video 2, we went into depth talking about dimensions and why there's a difference between dimensions, densities, alternate universes, alternate timelines, frequencies, probable realities. You have to understand all of this if you really want to understand what's happening when you make contact with.
Sorry, that was very loud thunder. Jesus. That was very close. If the stream suddenly stops, it's probably because the power went out.
A true extraterrestrial. When that happens, it's going to be helpful. This is stuff I had to figure out on the fly, so I made a huge video, a 90-minute video about this. So that was video number 2. Video number 3 is creating interdimensional portals. So when you understand what's going on with dimensions, you'll understand why, if you want to have true communication with a higher dimensional light being, then you're going to need to understand how to create an interdimensional portal.
No offense, but I don't even know how to talk to other human beings, and you expect me to talk to a whole ass other species? I don't think so.
Here's the good news. Every single human has the ability to do it. It's a very simple process, and it can be done, but it must be done if you...
Harold Edelman in continuing with the thing earlier, to save you the reading, plus ultra is the Spanish motto. It's an inversion of the old adage non plus ultra, nothing beyond this, and refers to the Straits of Gibraltar as the end of Europe and pretty much the world. When Spain went beyond and stole shit tons of money, they put that slogan on everything. Branding. Ever present.
Want to have real communication with an ET. So what we talk about in this video is we talk about why we need to create interdimensional portals. We talk about CE5 protocols and how they create interdimensional portals and why they're necessary. We also talk about how to transform your 3D body into an interdimensional portal. This is something that I have come to realize that I have been doing in my interactions with light beings, and how absolutely helpful and beneficial, I mean beyond beneficial, real energy practices are for creating your nervous system and your meridian system in your body to be able to tolerate the higher dimensional frequencies. So we talk about that. And I'm going to give some new information about how the 5D Earth shift will come, and I go through the various ascension scenarios, the sudden solar flash,
a good idea, Trey.
The gradual solar flash, 3D, 5D Earth split, the 2D, 3D, 5D Earth.
Why does the image look like angry Jean-Luc Picard?
Split, and something
or like Mr. Clean on bath salts.
New that I just saw in recent communication with an ET, which was the Many Earths Ascension event, which I talk about in detail. The gradual civilization ascension, and how do I think the ascension event is going to manifest. I talk about all of those things in Galactic Contact video number 3, Creating Interdimensional Portals. You can get this video course at contact.thunderwizard.com. I've just uploaded video number 3. Again, it's about 90 minutes. It's jam-packed with information. But it doesn't stop there. After video 3, we're going to get to video 4, which is interdimensional communication protocols. This is what daily communication after 3 years, what I've learned. By the word protocols, what I mean is what will work and what won't work. So it's not like ETs have a list of you have to talk to me like this. It has to do with frequency and higher dimensions, and the mindset that you have and the questions and the things that you say can either create a deeper connection or can block you off from them. So I talk about what I've learned about what works and what doesn't. And then we go into video number 5, which is how to determine if you've made contact. This is one of the things that happens is your 3D brain is going to try and talk you out of your actual contact experiences. I mean, I did human initiated contact. The third time was the third time that I had a huge enough experience that I realized. But I'm so dense that the first 2 times I actually made
I believe he is dense.
Contact, but I was clueless. Even though I had video and audio, and even though strange things were happening, my mind told me nothing was going on. So how do you know if you've made contact? In this video, I go into depth about what that is. Video 6, learning to interpret telepathic messages. This is a big one. Now, telepathic messages can be very easily misunderstood.
Kind of feels like that ruins the point of telepathy, does it not?
Can be, you can misinterpret, you can project. There's all kinds of things that can happen. And so I share with you my experiences. I share with you what I've observed with other people who have had very hit and miss interactions. And I tell you my strategy and my philosophy and what helps me truly understand and interpret these messages correctly. That's in video number 6. Video number 7, ways to deepen your communication with extraterrestrials. So We're going to go into not only how can you have a deeper communication with them.
Okay. Let's see what else.
As you can see, this is, let's see, this is President Kennedy in 1961 JFK inauguration. His wife was wearing Tiffany blue dress. And this is President Trump 2017 inauguration. His wife Melania was wearing the Tiffany blue dress.
I mean, they look like different color blues. It could be the color, it could be the lighting or the film stock, but those do not look like the same shade of blue, if I'm being honest. Melania's looks much lighter.
So please, you probably know that this is not coincidence, right? Also, Lady D of the UK, who you know what happened. Look at the dress she was wearing, white and red, and look at during the UK visit when Trump and Melania were visiting the UK.
I mean, that might be an intentional reference. I imagine she has a fashion designer that she works with, or like someone who procures things from designers for her for specific purposes. That's not that crazy.
How Melania was dressed. I don't think I have to explain anything, right? Lady D, Melania. Also, the letter Q-shaped JFK Memorial gravesite. You see the Q, and
it's not really Q-shaped, especially when you back off. QAnon people like to point that out, but that's not really the entirety of the picture.
Lady Diana Memorial site, Q-shaped. Now, look at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch logo, a boy sitting on the moon, which is Q-shaped. You see letter Q? Q-shaped. Now, look at this. Melania Trump, the wife of President Trump, and Michael Jackson. I don't think I have to explain anything, right? Look at this stuff. This is important.
No, please explain what the connection you think is between Melania Trump and Michael Jackson. I'd actually love to hear it.
Important. When Michael Jackson was saying they don't care about us, and Melania Trump, I really don't care, do it. And this is Melania wears and Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal suit, a very clear message both from Michael Jackson and Melania Trump. This is not coincidence. I also now I know the truth about Michael Jackson. I know the truth about Elvis Presley, and I know the truth about Julian Assange from WikiLeaks. And I also have the videos, and all the information has been made public by the military intelligence of Q. I was ignorant.
QAnon referenced on the bingo card.
Until I started, pushing myself to understand and to search and to
yeah, we already had believes evidence is self-evident densetsu, but yes.
To read, and it takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. So, yeah, I don't think I have to explain everything. I mean, a picture, an image is worth more than 1,000 words. Look at the years, by the way.
Is this the guy that's totally straight? Yes, he is.
61 with JFK, 2017 with Trump. Look at do you really think that this is just like a coincidence of 5 decades of difference? Look at Lady Diana. Look at Melania Trump. Do you understand? Look at the two Qs. Look at the Michael Jackson. And when Michael Jackson was saying they don't care about us, they don't care about us. You know, things are once you dig deep. And you also realize that all this information was released to the public in many different ways. It's just, of course, you're never going to find it in the news media. You have to you have to research lots of accounts on X, the former Twitter, some websites, some articles. You're not going to find it on your typical TV channel or like news channel or like typical websites that you see on the first page of Google. And obviously, you're not going to find it on Facebook or like, I don't know, the big
I promise, you can find crackpot shit on Facebook.
Channels on YouTube or whatever. So, is this too much for you? Is this too shocking? Is this something you didn't expect? Well, I hope I made your, may you have like a good day or a good evening with this information. For me, when I found it was like, wow, so epic and awesome. Especially the one with JFK and Trump. And also,
I'm not even sure, like, other than clearly he's into QAnon, what's he implying?
The dresses with Melania Trump and
I don't know what he's saying.
Wife of President Kennedy and also Lady Diana. What can I say about Michael Jackson? Now I know what happened to Michael Jackson. And nothing happened really. When you know the truth about Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley, you say, wow, amazing how this information has been publicly made. And all the plan was there for a long time. And Julian Assange as well. So let's enjoy the show. Let's enjoy the show with Iran and Israel. And see you guys in the next video.
Yikes. Oh no! This video is by him!
So this is what's really happening in Iran, when the whole thing with Iran and Israel. Listen carefully, this is geopolitics and history, and this is important because I am a realistic anti-hypocrite. So, in 1979, I repeat, in the year 1979, in the 70s, the royal family of Iran, who stood for freedom, this royal family, the good royal family, was ousted through a violent revolution. They were cast away through a very violent revolution. And in that moment, in 1979, an oppressive Islamic republic was installed in Iran with the following changes. Remember, this is 1979. These are the following changes from what was a super beautiful country with super attractive women.
You always got to bring up the woman thing. I remember I picked this video specifically because he weirdly brought up the he finds women attractive thing in a discussion about Iran's history.
And this is what happened. Compulsory Islamic law, which is called the Sharia.
All right, we can move on from that. I just wanted to point out that even in a situation like that, he's got to be like, yeah, I find women attractive. The following video is journalism, not a prophecy.
Today in this video we're going to be looking at this new technology that's been launched this week, and it may well surprise you how quickly this technology is progressing and is revolutionizing what we know to be normal in this world. So this week, researchers have developed a nearly invisible brain-computer interface with 96.4% accuracy. And this was produced by Neuralink's rival company. And it says, Neuralink could shut down over this. Rival company implants brain chip in human first and destroys Musk's lead.
I thought that, because this was uploaded 5 days ago, I thought that Neuralink had already done that.
In a groundbreaking...
Oh, I knew what you were saying, Amber. It's fine.
Development that could redefine the future of medical technology, Paradromics successfully implanted its brain-computer interface device into a human for individuals with severe motor impairments. And here is an image of that electrode that...
Tracking microchip implants on the card, yes.
That was placed...
I assume that's where they're going with it.
On someone's scalp. According to them, it makes it easier for the electrode to be fitted between the hairs with that X shape, and it has tiny little needles which go through several...
I'm honestly surprised he's not been like, oh, it's a crucifix.
Layers of skin on the surface, and it fits between hair follicles.
Scientists developed a brain-computer interface so small that it could be placed between hair follicles, making it much less bulky than earlier devices. It could be used for continuous brain monitoring in hospitals, or even everyday tasks like controlling smart home devices. And potential for mass production also mean it could one day be adapted for virtual reality, gaming, or wearable health technologies, making brainwave communication a normal part of daily life.
It says, beyond the brain, how BCIs are rewiring medicine and redefining humanity. So, I don't know about you, but, I mean, although I can see the benefits to help disabled people, and certainly not against helping people in very difficult situations, but it's a real concern about where this technology could be heading. And as it says here, the race is on to beat Musk to develop thought-controlled devices. And if you remember, Elon Musk came out and made an announcement on his X profile that said the first Neuralink product is called telepathy. And you see here on Neuralink.com, it says a year of telepathy. Today there are 3 people with telepathy: Noland, Alex and Brad. And Neuralink states that their goal is to bridge minds with machines. Neuralink aims to create a direct interface between the human brain and computers, enabling users to control digital devices purely with neural signals. Elon Musk put, it enables control of your phone or computer, and through them almost any device, just by thinking. And then he says initial users will be those who have lost the use of their limbs. The word initial is definitely interesting there, and the potential for the misuse of this in the future, where people, it could become unethical, and what regulations will be in place. But the speed at which...
Oh, honey, this is America. We don't do regulations anymore. Apparently supply side Jesus said they're a sin.
This is unfolding now. As you see there, someone says, telepathy is literally a hallmark of occultism and the New Age. How are people not seeing the implications?
I like when stupid people get criticized by other stupid people for completely unrelated reasons to the thing that actually makes the thing stupid.
And indeed, Alice Bailey wrote a book called Telepathy. And essentially we're dealing with very similar ideologies in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, except you're really not, because one is like a spiritualist and the other is a scientist, or at least using science to try to do something.
The word telepathy is defined as the supposed communication of thoughts or ideas by means other than the known senses. And this is not new, really, because in 1998 there was this patent on Google Patents, which I covered about 9 years ago on YouTube. And it said, a method for enabling human beings to communicate by way of their monitored brain activity. And it really does kind of open the concern for the idea of technocracy, which we spoke about on the podcast recently. Just this propaganda like you had in that film Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. And in this film, the people who receive this kind of spiritual mark, so to speak, they are marked in a way that brings them godlike powers, where they can move things, they can move in like false miracle way, and they can use this telekinesis, these false powers, and these lying signs and wonders. And it was the same with this movie called Chronicle in 2012.
That's about people who get like superpowers.
Where this guy discovers a mysterious substance that leaves him with incredible powers, and he has these kind of telekinesis.
Mark of the Beast, sure.
Powers as well. So you see how that's been pushed somewhat in this propaganda, and it kind of reminds you of the lie where people are being told in society.
Jay's a proxy. Let me see your bingo card.
That they can become.
Moves goalpost, psyop, free space, forced sterilization, Mark of the Beast. Woo! That's a bingo. Congrats. I'll write your name down. Give me a sec.
I'm like God. And does all of these types of things tie in together? I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely a concern when you see these things converging potentially, and these lies and these deceptions coming to fruition in our culture. So the whole idea of these brain-computer interfaces seems to be merging people's minds with tech and bringing people's minds together with machines, which ultimately is a very concerning, as I'm sure if you watch these videos, very concerning prospect, particularly with what the Bible says in the book of Revelation. We don't know what the final mark will be yet, but we know it says in the head and in the hand, and it will involve willful worship of the beast. So we are living in some interesting times, and just the speed at which this...
All times are interesting if you're crazy enough.
...is happening, to me, is quite shocking to witness.
Fennikagami says, considering Planeteer is trying to build a fully AI surveillance state using all our government data as a massive blackmail database for all Americans, I don't consider it out of the realm of possibility that Silicon Valley tech psychos hope to try to control us through brain chips in the future. Hopefully they're too incompetent to do it, but we need to be on our game moving forward. I think we'll be fine.
But people seem to have been primed for this, even in the NAR when they're taught that they can be little gods and that you are God or you are a Messiah in the New Age and all of these different false doctrines. Really, it's setting people up for that same deception from the Garden of Eden, where the serpent said, "Ye shall be as God." And there's nothing new under the sun. It's clear the goal of rebellious mankind, led by the powers of darkness, is to counterfeit Jesus Christ and to counterfeit salvation. They want to try and achieve everlasting life, eternal life, without forgiveness of sin. They want to create this counterfeit...
Have you considered not everything is about you and your religious beliefs? Just a thought.
...of the gospel, this anti-gospel, in the sense that people think that they can be free from their disease.
H. Baird says, if you know any Trump supporters, start telling them that he and his government all have brain chips, and that's why things aren't working out the way they were promised it would. Or we could not lie to crazy people. That'd be great.
All their disease.
I know you're making a joke.
They can be free from all their pains. They can be free from the very worst enemy of mankind, which is death, that came in through the fall in the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve took the fruit, the forbidden fruit, this promise, allure of being like gods, and to acquire secret knowledge, to be like gods, and to rise up in defiance of the one true God. That's what they're mirroring here, folks, that they're trying to achieve this very thing that we're warned about, the lie that took place in the Garden of Eden. You know, if that happened in the future, you say,
Have I ever expressed to you how existentially horrifying it is to me waking up every day in a world where the majority of people not only believe but actively make life decisions based on old books that they've been told are real? Like, I don't like being a part of this species, man. We're fucked up. We're fucked up in the head. We've built a world we're completely incapable of living in. It's fucked up.
tell someone about the gospel of Jesus Christ, that you can be forgiven for your sins and you can inherit eternal life through him, they might be like, well, why would I need that? I'm being promised a counterfeit eternal life. I'm being promised freedom from all my pain and diseases through transhuman means, or I'm being promised freedom through the Antichrist by taking the mark of the beast and being sealed into the beast system and being sealed essentially to hell for eternity, which is...
I genuinely don't understand how we have ever done anything but just eat dirt and shit our pants. I don't understand human beings at all. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Today's video is on two topics. At the end, I'm going to talk about time moving more quickly, days being shorter. At the beginning, I want to talk about a conspiracy topic I haven't talked about yet, I don't think. The submarine, the Titanic, whatever, submarine thing. And I guess first it's worth rambling about why I haven't talked about that yet, is because it's just so obvious. Anything that is a media spectacle like that, where the media is shoving it down your throats, it's all they want to talk about. That's got to be a psyop, fake creation, fake media creation. Everything on TV is fake, and the more emphasis they put on something, the more hyped it is, the more I would believe it to be fake as well. And so yeah, that's why I just wouldn't even pay attention. It's just like I start getting annoyed that they're trying to shove this thing down my throat. And sometimes I think that there's obvious, they're trying to do a social movement or something with their psyop, but sometimes they're just throwing out stories and they want to have their symbols in there, and who knows? Who knows? One thing about pathological liars is they will lie about things that it doesn't even matter. They just get off on lying. So
an individual can be a pathological liar. You can't have an entire organization, much less a global conspiracy, as an entity that exists as a pathological liar. That doesn't make sense. Like, an organization can't have a pathology like you're describing. It can have systematized problems, but that's not a pathology.
First, and then show the video and talk about how it hits two of the big modus operandi of the lying deceivers in charge of the media. Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I think about this verse all the time, and how this shows that I don't think that we're supposed to just stick our head in the sand and get spooked out by something because there's a skeleton on it or something, or, oh, there's a witch, so I'm going to be scared of that. I don't have that reaction. Of course, I'm not going to do the dark magics, but to know about it is to help yourself defend against that sort of thing, and to be aware. It's an awareness about the world around you. And living in reality, I think, is part of acknowledging that. Modus operandi. I thought it was interesting this said wheat and tares. So, this is a clear example.
Sorry, Baja was just giving me an update on the weather. We might be, I might have to, I was planning on streaming like 4 hours today. I might have to end a little earlier than that. We're already at 3:16 just because there's more potential tornado stuff, so that's great.
Example of Duper's Delight right here. And I think Duper's Delight is one of the best beginning waking up to conspiracy, is to understand that no, it's not just a bunch of people out there. You got to stop making excuses, first of all. You got to stop making excuses for everybody and say, well, they were just feeling awkward. Well, they were just, sometimes people laugh in uncomfortable situations. No.
What do you mean no? Those are all perfectly reasonable explanations.
There's a difference between nervous laughter and Duper's Delight, and deceivers get off on deceiving people, and you got to stop making excuses and stick to your...
How about you take some lithium?
Discernment. And so another thing, that was one, Duper's Delight. The other thing is actually in the title right here. New sound of Titan submarine imploding. I would say this is another huge red flag, modus operandi indicator of the club and the way they operate. Have you noticed that they always seem to be able to dig out new information about...
This might not have been publicly available, but this was filmed, and it's part of a Netflix documentary that came out a little bit ago. Just because something wasn't public doesn't mean it was literally new. It's new to the public.
Their most beloved psyops and media stories. It's like they're always able to find new information out about things. And it's like weird. I'm not a reader, but when I was like in high school, I once read a book on Jack the Ripper, and it fascinated me how much detail. They had so much detail down to like every 15 minutes. And now I know it's because, yeah, when you're just making up BS, it's really easy to have tons of detail and...
Or it's been thoroughly investigated for over a century.
Constantly find new information out. So let's watch this terrible video together. The person on the...
Stephen J. Neptune Man with 37 months, thank you, says, does Hans think the Titan implosion didn't happen? Correct. He thinks it was a psyop.
Right is a much better actor than the other ones. They, of course, have people with all these pins all over them. They gotta be important. And this video is so stupid, for reals.
The US Coast Guard's Marine Board of Investigation is looking into the disaster.
There was some dupe and delay right there in the background. I'm going to start over. The one who I said was a good actor is actually
the US Coast Guard's Marine Board of Investigation is looking into the disaster. Footage they recently discovered from Titan's support ship has been submitted as evidence for their investigation.
You will hear a noise that is external to the ship.
What's Ocean Gate? Something said Ocean Gate there. Gate equals 33, by the way.
To the room, I should say, and you will see their reaction to the noise.
Stockton Rush's wife Wendy is waiting for messages.
Another thing they like to tell you that too. They like to tell you the truth. What that reminds me of is when, what was it, the Parkinson's guy talks.
Michael J. Fox?
It's about, well, if you touch your nose, you don't have Parkinson's, and he touches his nose while he's doing it.
Kagami with 40 bits says, speaking of not liking this species, 2 of my coworkers are into crypto. They hold on to some and they aren't gambling much with it, but the thing that frustrates me is they know 90% is or so is a scam. Are there any legitimate uses for crypto? They know it's only survived this long because VC money has been lit on fire to keep it going. Oh, do they know about Tether? And still they think all it'll take is that one use case for it to take off and become the new currency. People need to be a part of something. People's need to be a part of something is so powerful. Everything is so stupid. If society would just collapse so I could peace out of here already, that'd be great.
This guy...
I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
I just said, and you'll see their reactions to the noise. And this lady's reaction to the noise is Duper's delight. She literally smiles at a noise. And I guess I shouldn't have to explain that if there's a submarine situation and you're waiting for noises and you hear a weird noise, your initial reaction's not going to be smiling. I shouldn't even have to explain that.
Is from the sub as it
And,
nears.
I mean, I know I don't have to explain that for most of you, but it's just these people, the way their magic works is it's about the packaging. They're able to show you complete deception to your face, but the way that they package it to you as this serious thing and the voiceovers and I think they do this on purpose to mess with your mind. They get your mind. The TV really is this stupid contraption to mind control people, and they do it with stuff like this where they will show you something but then get you to just believe something totally opposite of what you just saw.
Stockton Rush's wife Wendy is waiting for messages from the sub as it nears the sea floor.
What was that bang? So at that point, you said, "What was that bang? What was that bang?"
What was that bang? And then smiling. Literally nobody.
Yeah, because she didn't know what happened yet. She doesn't know that, like, they're dead.
Who is monitoring a submarine hears a weird noise and then starts smiling. Oh, what was that noise? All right, I don't want to show more of this video lest who knows.
That's it? You made a whole video about that? What the fuck?
They don't.
Why is 33 an important number to them? Because it's the highest rank in Freemasonry. They think it's a Freemason thing.
Like me doing that? I'm going to finish up the video, but I thought this was hilarious. I was like, you know what? I'm about to talk about time. How long ago was that submarine thing? Because it really doesn't feel that long ago at all. But
Stone Corpel says, a lady smiled once. Everything is a lie.
I'm sure, according to the calendar, years have flown by.
She smiled. Booker. It reminds me of when the Bed Bath & Beyond people were claiming, like, the plan manager was smiling. Obviously, everything's fine. As if there aren't a variety of, like, social reasons human beings smile.
Rather. And I thought this AI thing was hilarious because they're so bad at math. What is this math? The Titanic happened on June 18th, 2023. That means it happened approximately 1 year before the current date, May 23rd, 2025. That is horrible math. May is almost June. So we're almost at the 2nd year anniversary, and the AI is saying that approximately 1 year. I don't think so.
AI is stupid. Hans, it's stupid.
And so here's the time. I don't have anything else to say about time other than I've still been seeing all sorts of people talk about time. And these are from 4chan, so I've seen lots.
Oh, Jesus. Hans hangs out on 4chan? Okay.
of threads recently on people talking about time moving more quickly. You can pause and read them if you'd like. People who work long shifts in factories, they feel like it fly by. Oh, this I actually wanted to mention because
it's almost like your subjective, like, perception of time is subjective.
I actually had this feeling. I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Time has lost meaning, so it's hard to gauge how long ago I had this feeling. Got the same feeling a couple months ago while on a phone call. I was staring at the phone and tripped while watching the timer ticking. I can swear the seconds pass at double speed now. What my story for this is one morning I woke up and I could see a clock in the background. And I was just like kind of zoning out in the morning after having woken up. And the minutes were ticking by so fast, it was blowing my mind how fast the minutes were ticking by. And I mean, that's it. That's the end of that story.
That's a bad story.
So you can let me know if you've recently been looking at the clock and been like, what? Why is it moving so fast? This is a message one of my friends sent me. I have an activity that I do 2 times a week. It's only twice a week. Seems like you're in it 5 times at least. Yeah, so I have an activity that I do 2 times a week, and I'll let my friend know, like, oh, I'm doing this right now. And yeah, this was his response. How is it? It's only twice a week. Seems like you're in it 5 times. And that is a big one for me. Like weekly obligations. I remember what it used to feel like when something was a month away. I remember.
Fennikagami says, just watched a streamer cover Ocean Gate. The Titan sub was always making noises like that, and the company was a cult that, despite literally everyone telling them it was gonna pop, just kept pushing forward, thinking they were smarter than everyone else. Yeah, it's a fucked up situation. Rich people shouldn't be in charge of anything. Surprise, they're idiots.
Remember what it used to feel like when you did something once a week, or when you did something twice a week. And I can tell that that's so skewed, like to an absurd degree. And yeah, I'll feel it with events that are once a week. I can tell like that was not a week between.
You're just getting older, Hans. Like, this shit happened to me too. I'm over 30 now. Time feels different. It is what it is.
Since we last had it. Well, that is it. The universe is expanding. People were making a bunch of excuses. There's always excuses. People were saying, well, you're bored, you're not seeing enough new things. That's why time is moving quicker. So I guess that's why the guy...
The thing that I've said about this, and I never understand, and I don't think he's ever thought about, if time was moving quicker or slower, relative to what? Because, like, we exist in time, right? So if time itself moved faster or slower, we would never know because we're in it. Our brains and how they measure time is reliant on time. So we're not outside of time. If it went faster or slower, we can't see it. We're in it. Like the flow of a river, we wouldn't be able to tell. Like, what are you talking about?
Replied about the CEO. A rich guy who traveled constantly said time is speeding up. And yeah, another one that people don't talk about a lot, the Rona thing. If that happened in the 90s, can you imagine how slow time would have felt if we were like trapped places and couldn't go places? It would have felt like it took so long, but it really flew by. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. God bless everyone.
Oh, Hans. Alright. Like I said, the storm thing's happening, so I'm going to wrap it up a little earlier than I was planning today. I'll do a little longer tomorrow to make up for it. We did get over, we did 3.5 hours, though, so it is longer than usual. Let's see who we're going to raid.
If you had...
Education shit.
Alright. Have a great night, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Yeah. I'll see you then. I'm not sure what we're doing tomorrow. Maybe meme stock. There's some meme stock stuff I've been wanting to catch up on, including a court appearance where the judge expressly tells a Bed Bath & Beyond guy the shares have been canceled for over a year. What are you talking about? So we might cover that tomorrow. All right. Have a great night. And I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.